Gooch with a long signal count. Play action pass. Rolls out. Throws. Caught. Touchdown. Union wins in overtime.
Hello and welcome to Skelly Stadium on the University of Tulsa campus for the biggest high school game in not only the state of Oklahoma, but also in the entire country. It's number 1 Jenks against number 2 Union, Class 6A schools. And in the country, you're talking about number 2 Jenks playing number 25 Union. It is unbelievable. They're playing for the gold ball. It's something Jenks won last year. You saw moments ago a game that took place 362 days ago when Union was able to win during the regular season. Jenks came back, captured the gold ball as they won the championship. Now this game is bigger than big. You can see Tulsa people, kind of like a Newsweek type magazine for local people right here in Tulsa. 2 guys on the cover, the 2 head coaches, Alan Trimble and Bill Blankenship. You know this game is huge. Also on covers of all the statewide newspapers. This is bigger than big. All of the local television stations going live from here, and we've got 2 of the best media people to talk more about it. The guys who will be bringing you the play-by-play, Don King and J.V. Haney.
Thanks, Jack. When you look at the hype of this game, it continues to live up to the expectations.
Seems like it gets bigger on every game, Don, and I'm sure nationwide there's not a game with more hype than what we've had right here in Tulsa.
And when you look at the 2 schools, you look at their offense, and you start with maybe the top running back in the state.
Kejuan Jones, what a great power runner he is, Don, north-south, but he also can go right and left. He can cut on a dime. He's a good one.
And they use the run to set up the play-action pass.
And Scott McCoy is quite capable of doing that. Very accurate passer as well as a scrambling runner.
This Jenks offense scoring 91 points in the first 2 games this season. Defensively, they were all over the All-American quarterback from Fort Smith Northside last week. They need to put the pressure on this quarterback from Union.
That's Tyler Gooch, and he can certainly pass the ball down the field as well as scramble and run with it at the same time. So defense is going to be a very important part of the game.
And not only can they throw the ball, they use the pass to set up the run. And last week, Trinity Dawson against Broken Arrow had a big game, 138 yards.
And he can run. He's equal with Klink and equal with Kejuan Jones.
So it could be a very offensive game tonight between Jenks and Union. Let's go back to Jack Buns.
Thanks, Don and JV. And this is actually a home game for the Redskins, so we've got Union Assistant Principal in charge of student activities, Denise Vignatas, here with us. First of all, a lot of excitement. We don't know how many people will be here for sure. They're expecting possibly 30,000, had even more last year for the state championship. It's got to be exciting for Union High School.
It's very exciting. Anytime you can see this kind of support for our young people, we're very pleased.
The student spirit and everything is just phenomenal, the excitement in the crowd.
Well, we think that's part of what makes Union special. We call it that Union style. And we love having great school spirit. We have a lot of students involved in our programs.
You also have a very important teepee that we're taking a look at. The players come out of there and brings a lot of excitement. You have a whole squad that's in charge of that.
Yes, we do. They're called the teepee crew. We've had the teepee about 5 years now. It was a creation of 2 students from the class of '95. And the teepee has never missed a game. So we're being real creative right now to think about how we're going to get it to Clovis next year, but I'm sure we'll come up with some way.
You guys were phenomenal in the football game. You beat Clovis, moved up actually 8 spots in the national rankings. As far as high school football, it doesn't really get any better than this.
No, it doesn't. And it gives us such a wonderful opportunity to showcase so many of our kids. We'll probably have 1,000 students, close to 1,000 students involved in tonight's program. When you start from the TP crew all the way through the halftime program with the band, the works. We involve a lot of students.
Well, thank you for being with us, Denise. I know you've got an awful lot to do tonight. Thank you very much. Denise Vignatas, who's an assistant principal for Union High School. We're going to take a break, but we've still got plenty more coming up. 25 minutes until the opening kickoff between number 1 Jenks and number 2 Union. It's coming up next live on Cox. Welcome back to the University of Tulsa Skelly Stadium. You say, why is the game here? Well, because we needed a stadium this big to hold the number 1 and number 2 teams in the state. Jenks taking on Union. Phenomenal as they get the pregame festivities underway on the field. Off the field, well, these 2 teams actually have tremendous respect for each other. Forget the fact that they're both in the top 25 in the country. They know and respect just how good they are. Many of them are actually friends. Fans, that may be another story. They take this game a little bit more seriously, but the players are doing a marvelous job getting ready. Jenks and Union getting ready to square off. Kickoff is now just 23 minutes away. Andy Irwin gives us a look at last year's champions, the Jenks Trojans, and what they thought about during last year's game when they defeated Union.
When you look at what the Trojans have accomplished the last 4 years, the mind wonders. Someone has to be living right to win 4 straight state titles. Jenks has been a part of many storybook endings. This one was no different. We begin in the first quarter when it was Union striking first on one of the most remarkable plays of the year. 4th and 1, Tyler Gooch to Jerome Janae.
There for a second, I thought it was going to be a shootout, another 55-45 deal. But, we knew we were in for it when they struck early like that. But we just had to, keep our composure and be able to fight back.
That was probably the most unbelievable catch I'd ever seen in high school, and I'm thinking if they play this good all night long, we're probably in trouble. We let our kids know that you got to play every play, and the team that wins the most plays wins the game, so you can't just can't really quit after one play. So we were just refocused, keep on plugging.
Obviously, those kids, as he calls them, did exactly that. Kejuan Jones, a junior tailback, bolted 33 yards on this play to draw the game to its only tie of the night at 7 apiece. The offense wasn't satisfied. Just before the end of the quarter, Trimble elects to go for it on 4th and short.
Yeah, what it was actually the play kind of came in. It was coming late, and the play clock was getting down. And we went to the line. The play clock's about 5, 4, going down, and fake sweep left, and bootleg out right, and Jason was wide open. I just put it on him.
The second quarter began with rain. A thunderstorm rolled through along with a cold front. The 40,000 plus noticed, but not many players.
I think the rain affected the offense more than the defense. I really didn't feel the rain or the coldness at all, and I think, in essence, it actually helped us.
And that it did. Just before intermission, the Redskins are in field goal range, looking for a touchdown. But Buddy Blair had a different idea.
Huge play. Great call, I thought, by our defensive coordinator, Darren Milton. We knew they had to go to the air. They were out of timeouts. Great open field tackle on Gooch, set them back a ways, and I thought was one of the bigger plays of the first half.
So the Trojans' lead at the half was 14-7, and it remained that way through the third. Union's missed field goal was the only real scoring opportunity. You can say the same for the fourth. 2 defenses that wouldn't budge an inch. Final drive of the game, Union down by a touchdown and looking for a miracle. And to be totally fair, one was answered for both teams.
Last play of the game at the 50-yard line, it's going to take a miracle to win. And a miracle happened. They caught the ball, but unfortunately for them, it's at the 10-yard line, and luckily, that was all it was at.
Their receiver made a great catch in traffic. We were fortunate enough that we had guys in the area to tackle him short of the goal line, and the clock was on 0, and that was, to be honest with you, probably one of the biggest reliefs in my coaching career.
It was kind of in slow motion once we tackled, and then it was like that was it. There was no more time left, and it was more a sign of relief when we won it.
So how are you supposed to top that one? Especially when on paper, this one tells you that it really doesn't mean a thing.
There's going to be 30,000 people for a game that means nothing. It means something to us, and you try to say to yourself that, yeah, this game means nothing, but you want to win bad. If your arm's broken, your leg's broken, you're going to want to tape it up and play just because it's Jenks Union.
A marvelous job by Andy as always, and speaking of incredible jobs, Jenks Trojans, 4-time state champions. Their athletic director Tommy Burns is here with us. Sometimes I think maybe, at least myself, I take this for granted that both of these schools are so good, but we're really living in a very privileged time where you have players like Bobby Klink, Kejuan Jones, Brandon Lohr, marvelous athletes at Jenks.
That's very true. Sometimes, we're spoiled with these situations. A lot of good athletes, good support from surrounding people and what have you. We're very fortunate to be a part of this. You, I, all of these people that are here tonight. It's tremendous.
Might have around 30,000 people or more by the time all is said and done from these ticket sales. Marvelous how big high school football has become in Oklahoma.
Well, I think so, and especially on this side of the state. This is a tremendous high school crowd here already. It's not 40,000, but it's going to be a good crowd here tonight. Great night for football, good situation. We really enjoy playing Union. It's a good situation. I think they feel the same way, and it's really worked good for all of us.
A lot of money that pours in for both schools. This is a home game for Union this year. Next year it'll be a home game for Jenks. That's great for not only the football program, but all the other activities you have as well.
Oh, there's no doubt. We don't keep it a secret that a lot of our sports are sponsored, by our football squad. They bring in the funds, and we're able to do some things with our other teams and groups, and it's no secret. Everybody knows that.
Well, congratulations on 4 straight championships. You're number 1. People expect you to win number 5. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Jack. We appreciate it.
The athletic director for the Jenks Trojans, Tommy Burns. We've still got more coming up. It's about 17 and a half minutes until kickoff between number 1 Jenks and second-ranked Union, live only on Cox Cable. Cox Digital Cable, our pregame show. Phenomenal stuff that we have got for you here. Top game in the country, as a matter of fact. Number 2 in the country. Jenks Trojans take on the 25th ranked Union Redskins. Tomorrow night, you will see the best out of Oklahoma City. We'll see Del City take on Westmore. Ought to be a great one. Pregame at 6:30. The kickoff there at 7. So a little bit different from tonight. It was 7 o'clock tonight, of course, and the 7:30 kickoff. That'll be tomorrow night, Channel 3 in Oklahoma City, and here in Tulsa on Channel 9. Of course, college football Saturday means the University of Tulsa Golden Hurricane taking on Rice. Keith Burns has his Tulsa Golden Hurricane turned around. They're 0-2. Some people think this is a must-win for them. Rice got hammered a week ago by Michigan 38-3. We'll see if TU can pick up their first win of the season, although Rice awfully good running the football. Tonight's game, Union's athletic director Benny Dixon now with us. You guys have done a phenomenal job. You played Clovis, California, just kicked them all over the place, moved up 8 spots in the national polls. I don't know how much that means because you guys probably should be higher than 25, but it's got to be exciting to be recognized nationally.
A lot of people say rankings don't mean anything, but I think that's a bunch of bull. I think they mean a lot because the more we're nationally ranked, the more we can go places and play people and just see how we stack up and keep college or high school football like college football.
This is like college football. I mean, there would be college football programs nationwide. I doubt there's a small college program in the country that has, response like this.
Yeah, a lot of the Jenks kids or Union kids go to college. We're kind of disappointed, but we're going to do what we can to make high school football a great experience, not for the players, but for the city of Tulsa and surrounding area and all these kids out there have a part in it. So that's kind of our goal, and it's happening.
The thing that's great is how that you and also Tommy Burns, the 2 head coaches, get along very well. The leadership that you've brought and kept this thing under control, because it probably could get ugly because it is such a fierce rivalry.
Yeah, you got to, in between the lines we're enemies, outside those lines we're friends, and that's what it takes to put this together. So, as I say, we're always on the same page, sometimes different books, but we get it put together, and somehow this all happens like this atmosphere tonight.
This is great to have a home game here for you. Brings even more money in, but it's also good for the community that you guys moved it from your personal stadium.
Yeah, it's obviously that our stadium won't hold it anymore, and after the state championship game of 45 or 40,000, whatever the count was, obviously we moved out here tonight, and I think the proof's in the pudding. As I look across, there's more people on our home side than we can put in our whole stadium, so it worked.
All righty, well, good luck tonight. I appreciate it very much, and as always, Benny puts on a phenomenal show, and I'm sure he will do so again tonight here at the University of Tulsa. Well, we want to take a look at one in particular player on Union. He's, one of not maybe the stars, but he is a guy, Chris Barnes, who is a standout player, and he's also very much a team guy, as Andy Irwin shows us.
One of the things you can count on when these 2 giants meet is that the state's best talent will come forth. And one of those you might want to keep an eye on tonight is Union's Chris Barnes. He's not your biggest defensive end in the state, but you could argue one of the fastest. Keep an eye on his relentless pursuit of the ball.
I don't know how to go any way but hard. I play for God, and I might as well give him my best, and I can't stand to dog any play. I mean, I've got pretty good athletic ability, but if I didn't give out the effort that I did, I wouldn't be half the player. So effort pretty much makes my game.
Chris to us is a player that we try to mold every player to be like. He is definitely a relentless player. He just gives a lot of effort and chases the football just tremendously.
So far this year, Barnes has had to adjust his game according to the team the Redskins are playing. In the opener against Clovis, California, he was on the attack. But last week against Broken Arrow, the attack came to him.
Well, Chris still had a good game, but he didn't play up to the same level that he had played in the previous games. Chris is a very reckless, attacking style of player, and he's not a big player, so he has to use that to his advantage and And certainly when playing against that flex bone offense, you know, he's got to be a lot more disciplined. He's got to read which way they're blocking and then know whether to take the fullback or the quarterback. And that's not really his style. We want him just to cut loose and play hard.
When you play assignment football and if you make just a slight mistake, Broken Arrow, being a good team as they are, was able to handle that situation. Hopefully this week he'll be able to go back to, you know, his comfort zone.
I can't tell you how much Chris is looking forward to this game. He's missed playing the Trojans the last 2 years due to injury, although he did see some playing time in the state championship game, but that was only on special teams. And that just wasn't enough time for a rivalry such as this one.
Yeah, I mean, I want to beat him, but I want to beat him when it counts. This week doesn't mean anything as far as, you know, how we'll do in the playoffs or how our standings will be, but it's basically for bragging rights. I just hope we can win when it counts.
There's nothing that's going to happen on Thursday night that's going to make a difference in, you know, who makes the playoffs or who's, you know, going to be, you know, able to win a state championship. What it is a gauge for us, and we're going to use it as such. We're going to see how we stack up against what should be the best opponent in the state that we're going to see, and we're going to find out where we have some strengths and where our liabilities are.
So what all of this means is we don't want to lose this game tonight, but we would quickly trade for a win in the state championship.
It's unbelievable just how evenly matched these two teams are. Split over the last couple of seasons. Jenks, though, has won the state championship the last 4 years in a row. Well, you can't find a parking space for a couple of miles around TU Skelly Stadium. The fans are ready. They're packed. We're about 9.5 minutes before kickoff. It's the top team in not only the state of Oklahoma, the best game in the entire country. As Jenks takes on Union, we'll wrap up our pregame show and bring you the kickoff in just a few moments. Welcome back to the top high school game in the entire country. It's a privilege to be in the state of Oklahoma these days with high school football becoming so big. And it's a great honor myself to be involved in the many people here with Cox Cable bringing the state of Oklahoma live high school football coverage for the first time ever. Not only in Tulsa, but in Oklahoma City. Great honor to see number 1 against number 2 in the state. Jenks and Union, as I said, also two teams that are in the top 25. People getting very, very excited here. We're about 7.5 minutes from the opening kickoff. We've talked about some of the key players that you're going to see. If you just joined us, though, for Union High School, Tyler Gooch is a phenomenal athlete. He could have gone to either school. From where he lives, if he lived across the street, he'd be in Jenks. He instead goes to Union. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's a senior. He's got great speed, and I think you'll see on the shorter passes, too, he's got a phenomenal arm. Their running back, Trinity Dawson, is a new face to high school football. He was with their team last year, but he's got not only speed, but he's also got amazing power. And they also have the top receiver in the entire state, Jerome Janae, who is unbelievably fast, has great hands, and they like to get him in man-to-man coverage and throw the ball deep. You take a look there at Skelly Stadium as we have a nearly sold-out crowd. 40,000 watched this in person last year when we had the state championship game, a game that Jenks won. Union, of course, won in the regular season 362 days ago, 27-24. This time, we expect about 30,000 people. The phenomenal new grass here at TU. It is the same turf, by the way, that Jenks has that could give a slight advantage to the Jenks Trojans. A lot of experts think also that Jenks might be a little bit better, a little bit deeper team. They'll be coming out of that tunnel shortly. The number 2 team in the country. They've got a great quarterback, Scott McCoy. Doesn't put the ball up a lot, but shows that he can. He's thrown for, I believe, 355 yards so far this season in really not very much brilliant fashion, and they also probably have the 2 best running backs in the entire state, Bobby Klink and Kejuan Jones. Kejuan has only played half of the time, and much like the Skydivers, he will put on a phenomenal show each and every time he touches the football. Don't forget to join us in person if you can. You've still got time to get out of here at TU, or if not, stay right here. Cox Cable in Tulsa and Oklahoma City. We will have all the shows for you. Fireworks coming up in halftime. It's the best team, best game in the country coming up next. Number 1, Jenks, and number 2, Union, only on Cox Cable.
It always seems to come down to the final seconds when the Jenks Trojans meet the Union Redskins, and last season's regular season game was no exception. Tyler Gooch, the junior quarterback, directing his team with a great long drive to send the game into overtime. And then he beat the Trojans with this overtime pass to beat the Jenks Trojans 27-24.
This live event, featuring members of the Oklahoma Secondary School Activities Association, is an exclusive presentation of Cox Communications, your home for the 2000 5A and 6A State Football Championships.
Welcome to one of the greatest high school rivalries in the country. It's the Tulsa Auto Collection Game of the Week between the four-time defending state champion Jenks Trojans and the Union Redskins. Welcome to Skelly Stadium on the campus of the University of Tulsa as the four-time defending state champs, #1 ranked Jenks, get sets to take on the #2 ranked Union Redskins. Hello again, Don King along with J.B. Haney. Coach, this game always seems to live up to the hype, especially with the great players that we have here on center stage. And you start with the Union quarterback, Tyler Gooch.
And Tyler Gooch, and I say this all the time, Don, I think he's such an outstanding leader. Not only does he do a good job passing and running, but he leads a team, and he's the kind of player that just finds a way to win at the end.
He is a guy that has put up great numbers, as you see here in the early going. In 2 years as a starting quarterback, 15-1. On the other side of the ball, maybe the best running back in the state, number 21, Kejuan Jones.
And Kejuan Jones is certainly a power runner. You're not going to arm tackle him. You're going to have to tackle him square up, and most of the times you're going to need some help. So he's one to follow and an outstanding north-south runner.
Looking for his 1,000-yard rushing season in 3 high school years. So it is Jenks and it is Union. Will we see a defensive game or an offensive game? We'll find out. The kickoff is next. Pull up a chair and stay with us on the Cox Communications Game of the Week.
Well, the pageantry continues here at Skelly Stadium as we await both teams to come onto the field. As you see the records of both teams, Jenks taking care of business against Bixby 2 weeks ago in their season opener, and then last week also at home, disposing of the top team in Arkansas, Fort Smith Northside. And Union taking care of their first 2 opponents the first 2 weeks of the season. Clovis, California, 36-0, and then we hope you caught our game last week here on Cox Communications when they took care of Broken Arrow 25-14. JB, when you look at the matchups tonight, I mean, we could dissect this game for yet another 30 minutes.
You really could, Don. You could point out and put the ifs and the buts and the maybes in there, but it's just going to kind of come down.
There's a look at the graphic, and again, the overall series record led by Jenks. They won the first 9 in the meeting and have won 8 of the last 10. There are the points scored. You see, they've really dominated the first 2 opponents, the state ranking and the national ranking, according to Fox Sports. And when you also look at these 2 teams and their previous 4 games, the statistics of those 4 games are just unbelievable because they're so close. There's only 50 yards total offense between the 2. Only 1 touchdown separates the 2 teams in the previous 4 meetings.
Well, when you look at it, they're just that close, too. If you were to take a matchup, Don, on each position, I think you would come out with the same analysis. They are just that close all the way down the line.
Jenks apparently has won the toss and will elect to receive the football, JB. When I look at this Union offense, well, first the Jenks offense, they certainly want to run the ball with Jones and Klink. That's their forte.
And I think that there was an advantage between the 2 teams, the 2 offensive sets that both teams run, that Jenks might have a little better ability of controlling the football because of those 2 outstanding runners in Klink and Jones. So if it gets into a situation where time management is crucial, I think Jenks might have the upper hand there if things go according to Hoyle. But in a game like this, you can't predict anything. It's just going to be whichever team really puts the most into it.
And then when Union has the football, they usually use the pass to set up the run as the Trojans come onto the field. And a new setting for them is that helmet that cost in the neighborhood of about $6,000, $7,000. Booster Club has taken care of it. Trojans under Alan Trimble in 5 years now. He has lost only 4 games, 2 of them to Union.
I think it's amazing, Don, for the last 2 years, even though Jenks has won the state championship, Union has the best overall record for the last 2 years, but yet void of the gold ball.
Does that have a mental effect, do you think, on this Union team?
Well, I've always said this when it comes to high school athletics and state champions. If you are the state champion, you have to be dethroned. Well, Jenks has been there 4 times in a row, and someone will have to take it away from them. They're not going to give it to you.
What's your estimate on this crowd tonight?
Well, there's still people from our vantage. We can see people coming in. And I said from the beginning, I thought there would be right around 30,000, maybe give or take a couple. But I didn't think it would be sold out. But the important thing about the crowd, Don, not only is it the game in the state of Oklahoma, it will draw from the metropolitan area as well as the state. But there's people coming from Missouri, from Kansas, from Arkansas. This is certainly a national game that is drawing out-of-state people.
Well, wherever you are watching around the state, pull up a chair. This one should be a dandy, as it has been. 11 of the last 14 have gone into the fourth quarter. The game still in the balance. We welcome you from Oklahoma City. We'll have a game for you tomorrow night, Westmore and Del City. Now the Trojans are on the field. As you see, here come the Union Redskins. The Redskins, if you take away their 2 victories, their 2 losses to Jenks the last 2 seasons, they would have won 30 in a row. Let's go down to Jack Bunce.
I don't think you could have more excitement for this game tonight, and you really couldn't have any better conditions. There will be no problem with the turf. It is an artificial surface, as we told you about beforehand. It's brand new. This is the first year for it. It's the same turf that originated at the University of Nebraska. It's soft. It's phenomenal. It's the same stuff that Jenks has. Could be a factor in that regard because they're a little bit more used to it. But it'll be a perfect night tonight. Temperature about 80 degrees. Perfect conditions. They do think by the end of the night could get quite a bit colder, could drop about 20 degrees during the game, and wind could even play a factor because it's blowing out of the north. But overall, I don't think anybody's going to get cold. They're going to be so psyched, so pumped up. Don and JV, it's going to be perfect.
Thank you, Jack. There's a look again at the series, and again the Trojans have dominated, winning the first 9, and now they've won 8 of the last 10, and of course the 2 they have lost have been the last 2 regular season meetings. 2 years ago, they lost at home. The only loss for Trimble that season. They lost 55-45. And then Bill Blankenship beat the Trojans at Union Tunnel last year in overtime, 27-24. Alan Trimble in his 5th year. He has only 4 losses to his credit. There's his record.
Don, I don't know of a coach in the nation, and you can see they're 52-4 as a head coach, never having lost a playoff game. That is the most remarkable record I've ever heard of in high school football.
And you know the thing that I admire most about Alan Trimble is that the 4 state championships have not changed his demeanor whatsoever. He's still a very humble man. Here we go. Pull up a chair. We're underway. And this one will be an automatic touchback. See right there, they need to change the rule because Kejuan could have turned it out of the end zone. Let's take a look at the offense for the Jenks Trojans. Very electrifying offense. An offensive line that's rather new, except for Tim Lopez. Derek Crisp also one of the veterans of that offensive line. A backfield, Scott McCoy returns at quarterback. Stuart Lamb, a 3-year player. Starting at fullback, Jones is a dandy. Carter, their deep threat. Holmes and Mills also flank out. Mills was dangerous last week. A couple of big catches. McCoy and gets the first call to Jones. Janae brings him down, not before he gets across the 40, and Kejuan Jones makes the opening statement here in the first play of the game as you take a look at the defensive front. A very good defensive front with Guzman, Rooney, and Barnes. Pete Knapp filling in for the injured Cam Goodwin. Backing the line Ryan, Mansfield, and Dupree, maybe the best tandem in the state, and an outstanding secondary. All have played very well. Gibbons and Spavital, 3-year starters. First down from the 43 after the 23-yard run, and they went Kejuan right. Now they go Kejuan left. And Aaron Rooney, number 90, is there to polish him off. Rooney, the 6'2", 267-pound defensive tackle.
And Kejuan Jones is showing you early on that he can hit that line of scrimmage going full speed, and he can make a cut to the right or to the left, or he can power you right down the field.
We hope you saw the Union Broken Arrow broadcast a week ago. Shane Jones ran for 229 yards against Union. So we'll see if Union is allergic to Jones, because now they've got Kejuan Jones in the backfield tonight to deal with. McCoy passed one and up near midfield and past midfield. Aaron Rooney again coming from behind to make the stop.
And Scott McCoy is much like the other quarterbacks that we've seen at Jenks, and the fact that he's able to scramble once he is not able to maybe to complete the pass. You notice he protects the football, but he can cut and he'll get you some yardage every time.
They're going to measure for the first down. There's a look at Scott McCoy. He has put up some pretty good numbers here in the early going. Last year, he guided the Trojans to a 13-1 record.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of plays like that tonight from both Scott McCoy and Tyler Gooch, Don, because both of them can drop back out in a scrambling situation. If they can't get their receiver downfield, they'll be able to pick up some yardage and just keep the pressure on the defense at all times.
He needed the length of the football for the first down. He needed 7. He got 7, and they're in Union territory at the Redskin 47-yard line. Great night, and as Jack mentioned, it could get a little bit cooler. The wind is into the face of the Trojans here in the opening quarter, and it's gusting at about 15 miles per hour.
And that could be a factor in the kicking game tonight, because it's supposed to come on through and maybe get a little stronger out of the north.
2 receivers right. Bowling in motion at fullback. He tries to lead block, and not much doing on that play. Nice penetration by the Union defensive front. Chris Barnes, the defensive end. You see him there, 94, making the stop. He had 4 sacks in the season opening game.
And Chris Barnes can crash down that line and fill the hole, and you see him doing it right there, certainly making just a good head-up, stand-up, one-on-one tackle. Great play in there by the end.
Both teams can strike in an instant. However, Jenks loves to just pound the football straight ahead and use the run to set up their play-action pass. Kejuan stood up, nowhere to go. And there's 44, Josh Dupree, who leads the way, the middle linebacker, and he's helped by the other LB. That's Daryl Mansfield.
And we talked about this in the pregame, Don, that when Kejuan Jones comes in there, so many times one tackler can't make the tackle and stop him, 0.0, but if he gets some help, and that's Dupree coming in there putting the cap on at that time.
2.5 minutes gone in the game, and we'll have our first third down.
Just great swarm tackling by Union.
They show blitz. Here they come. McCoy gets it away and overthrows his receiver. I think they'll rule that an incomplete pass. Players are chasing it to the sideline as if it might have been a lateral. Mike Holmes, the intended receiver. So Jenks moves from the 20 to the Union 45, and now they'll punt against the wind. And the Trojans will send back Tyler Wilkie to do the punting.
And that's a good statement made here in the first series by the Union defense.
Zach Spavital is one of the best to return the punt if he can get one, and he can. Well, that doesn't go down as a turnover, but you might as well chalk it down as one, Coach.
Yeah, true. And so many times in the kicking game, this is so important, almost impossible for it to be handled clean in there. Once it starts bouncing around, you know they're going to come through and And he did the very best thing he could do by trying to get it upfield, but he just couldn't get it up there. Great play by the Union defense.
And great field position at the Trojan 35-yard line. And as we get set the snap for the Union offense, we have a penalty. Tyler Gooch is the quarterback. Dave Thomas, our referee, and that one will go against the Trojans. A look at the Union offensive front. Although they're seniors, they are inexperienced. First year to play varsity for the most part, except for Justin Brown. And the backfield, Tyler Gooch, Trinity Dawson, 200 yards in the first 2 games. Janae is the top receiver, maybe in the state. 1st and 5. Out of the gun, they fake to Dawson, and Gooch, who loves to run the football and has had some electrifying runs in his career, gets stopped by 99 Brian Pickrell. He's a 6'4", 220-pound junior. As you see him on the front line with Moore, Derek Crisp, and Brandon Lohr. He is a Division I prospect. Jay Henry in the middle. Bowling getting his first start of the year, and a secondary that's very experienced with Hicks and Holmes. The corners, Klink, maybe the best strong safety in the state. Gain of 3. 2nd and 2 now from the Jenks 28. This is Dawson. He gets to the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be about it, maybe a yard. And again, it's the big play man Pickrell along with number 9, Jay Henry.
That's a great play defensively in there by Brian Pickrell, because he comes right down the line and closes in real tough on Trinity Dawson. Just good defensive play. And hey, we may be seeing what's going to happen throughout the night, Don. Just great defense on both sides of the football.
Gooch loves to sneak on these 3rd and short situations. They need to get to the 25. Oh, the option. You don't see that often, but Gooch makes them pay, and they get the first down. Bobby Klink, 22, was coming up to make sure he didn't get any further.
Tyler Gooch, a very experienced quarterback, and it looks like he's going to option, but I really think he was going down looking for a crease, and he found it, was able to pick up the 3 or 4 yards and the first down. Good experience, senior quarterback play.
Gooch has hit 70% of his passes in the first 2 games. 5 touchdown passes. Will he go upstairs here on first down? Nope, they go to Dawson. And nowhere to go, and again, Pickrell, 99, and Henry, number 9, combined. Coming up, Jason Carter, number 1, and Trinity Dawson cannot find any running room whatsoever here in the early going.
And we're seeing some great play by defensive ends here. That's just a great play. Fight off the tackle, come right back in, and make the tackle yourself in there. That's Brian Pickrell. He is having a good game in the first period.
Now they set Union, kind of forcing them to pass here on 2nd and 11, no score, 7 minutes to go first quarter. First possession for Union. Jenks loves to send everybody after Gooch. They do blitz, they pick it up. One-on-one for Janae. Hello, touchdown Union. He was covered, but he is such an outstanding receiver in Gooch, and he hooked up once again.
Well, he's got that fly pattern down set, and he just absolutely sprints, and Gooch lays it in there perfectly for him.
One of the best kickers on PATs. Jake Gibbons handles this one, but there's a flag down. Janae, you might remember, caught Union's touchdown in the first quarter, the first time Union had the ball in the state championship a year ago.
The dead ball, false start.
False start on Union, and surely Jenks will make them kick again. Bill Blankenship played his high school ball at Spiro, played his collegiate ball at TU. Alan Trimble played his high school ball at Cleveland, Oklahoma, and his collegiate ball at Northeastern State.
Both about the same size high schools. Great coaches coming out of there.
Cleveland has produced several coaches into this area. Well, we'll try an extra point again, 5 yards further back, and it's perfect. So 6:57 to go, first quarter, and these two have been hooking up since the 7th grade as the Tulsa Auto Collection Game of the Week continues from Skelly Stadium. take a look at the 24-yard touchdown pass. They forced him to pass, and Union made them pay.
And that's a fingertip catching pass there. Great pass by Tyler Gooch. Great reception by Jerome Janae. Those kids play catch an awful lot, and that's what that was. They played catch.
6 plays, 35 yards, and it didn't take long. Minute 48 off the clock, which now reads 6:57 remaining. And with a strong wind to Jake Gibbons' back, he'll probably send this into the end zone.
Jerome Janae is very difficult to cover one-on-one. He has so much quickness, and he'll sprint right at you, as we saw in the Broken Arrow game down on his first touchdown. He sprint right at the defensive back, and then he curls back and makes 10 or 15. The next time he just blows right by you in a sprint.
Line drive, and this one out of the end zone. Let's go downstairs to Jack Buns.
You know, Don, I think you called it perfectly. It reminded me of last year's state championship game. It just happened in the other end zone here at Skelly Stadium, where Jerome Janae caught that first quarter touchdown pass. Also, it reminds me a little bit of last week, where Union was able to, in the first quarter, get man-to-man coverage, and then Janae scored the first touchdown against Broken Arrow. The difference, though, Union wants to keep that up and not stop after the first quarter.
Good point. Thank you, Jack.
You know, Travis Meyer indicated from Channel 8 before the game, Don, that the wind would pick up as the game progressed, and we can see the flags are pretty much standing straight out with the wind from the north.
Jones looking for some room. Union with a 7-0 lead. Sends the black shirts, and there's a lot there waiting on him. Led by Billy Ramey, the strong safety, the junior coming up. There's a look at the flags, and that is into the face of the Jenks offense.
Here we'll see Billy Ramey really come in, and Coach Blankenship and his staff talk about swarm tackling, and you'll see a good example of it here as the dark-colored jersey just swarm in, and Ramey really putting the cap on it.
Loss of 4 on the play, back to the 16-yard line. McCoy has some time. Rifles incomplete. Garrett Mills had his hands on it, but couldn't hold on to it, and there is a flag down as well. Pressure put on by 96. That's Mike Ryan, the defensive end / linebacker.
Coach Blankenship a little concerned there. That was a good pass in there by the quarterback. Really picked him out on a nice little curl pattern, but just couldn't hold on to it.
This will go against the Trojans. We'll see if they decline it to make it 3rd down. If I'm not mistaken, in the last 4 games, I think now 5, I think Union scored first in all 5 games.
Well, I know last year when it happened, everyone was thinking, uh-oh, we are going to be in here for one of those like we've seen 40, 45, 50, and that sort of but it didn't work out that way.
Ineligible receiver downfield against the offense. That penalty is refused. It'll be 3rd down.
Thank you, Dave Thomas. You're right, JB. All 3 touchdowns in the state championship game a year ago were all scored in the first quarter. After that, it became a defensive struggle. In fact, Jenks didn't get a first down in the second half, even though they hung on to win. Union had 2 chances inside the 10 and came up empty both times.
And this is a situation where you really encourage your defense to try to get the ball back real quick for you.
Midway first quarter, this pass complete to Holmes, and Mike Holmes is close to the first down marker, but he's going to be short a couple of yards. Take a look at it again.
In a situation like this, the defense is going to let you have the 5 or 6, 7 yarder, which they did here, but they were able to come up and stop Holmes and prevent the first down, force Jenks into a putting situation against the wind.
How about that? 32 Holmes, the linebacker, coming up to make the play after the 12-yard pass. So Jenks will punt again. The last time they fumbled it. This time they have to run it, and Union is set up in great shape again. Janae didn't even give him a chance to get it underway. Chris Barnes might have been in there as well, 94. Good look at the defensive end.
You know, it looks like that he might just come by and steal that football. He's coming in there hard, and that's a smart move in there by Tyler Wilkie and not going ahead and trying to kick it. Great special team effort out of the Union defense.
And look at this. Gooch says, let's make them pay, and they overthrow Caleb Blankenship.
That slant over the middle route has been a good play for Union in their first 2 games. And, you know, Caleb Blankenship, over 6 foot tall, and you can throw it high and he'll get it.
Very unusual, isn't it, to see the Trojans make a mistake like they did the first time they went back to punt, and then to not block well enough the second time.
Well, I think it shows you just on any level, the special team execution is so significant.
Deep drop. They set the screen up for Dawson. Ooh! Bang, says Bobby Klink. Hello. He loves to put a knot on your head, doesn't he, number 22?
Well, that's a great play by Bobby Klink because it looked like the blockers were out there. It looked like the screen was set, but Bobby Klink came through them and made a great tackle to just hold them to a minimum gain. You'll see him coming to the top of your screen, and he really does a great job of getting through the 3 blockers. He's a competitor.
Great baseball player. First team All-Metro as a shortstop here in the Tulsa area. Blankenship has it, and Caleb is going to give Union another series of downs inside the 10. Bobby Klink there to haul him down.
Well, that's that slant pattern coming from the other side, and great hands in there by Caleb Blankenship going up and bringing it right down into his breadbasket to pick up those extra few yards.
Beg your pardon, it's 12 John Chisholm, not Blankenship, but Chisholm, number 12, who also has played quarterback in his high school career, but being a senior wanted to play more, so they put him at wideout. And here's Trinity Dawson being introduced to Brandon Lord, 98, who makes the stop.
You know, each time we see Union play, we see other receivers coming into the picture. Chisholm this time that I misidentified, along with J.J. Sheffield. He has been good. And you take Caleb and then Jerome Janae. That's a pretty good crew to throw to.
And I think the Trojans have jumped into the encroachment area as Tyler Gooch likes what he sees.
Dead ball. Encroachment on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
Another crucial mistake by the Trojans with 3:53 to go, first quarter.
Bill Blankenship and his athletic director, Benny Dixon, they're still not happy. It takes a long time to get a smile on their face, doesn't it? You can see Coach Blankenship. He is intent.
His oldest son, Josh, was out here practicing on this field this afternoon for TU. He is the starting quarterback for the Golden Hurricane. Option. And Travis Hicks comes up to make sure that doesn't go any farther. Also on the play, 44, Eric Lindemann, another linebacker.
It's good defense by Jenks. They cover not only the option, they force the pitch, and then they certainly cover the pitch man just about as well as he could be covered in there. Travis Hicks was right on him as he recovered the bad pitch.
Loss of 7, back to the 10. Alan Trimble hoping the defense can make one more stop here. Union leads 7-0. And they're knocking on the door for more with 3 minutes to go in the opening period, and Tyler Gooch needs a timeout. And probably a wise call there. 3 minutes to go, first quarter. Can they score again when we come back? We'll find out. Let's go downstairs to Jack Buns.
Welcome back to the Union Jenks game. We've got the president and CEO of the Tulsa Auto Collection, Jim Evans, with us. Great football, and it wouldn't be possible live on Cox if it weren't for you, so thank you very much.
Absolutely, Jack. We like to be part of this in some small way. Great turnout, and obviously a great game going tonight.
What's it like to be a customer and you go into the Tulsa Auto Collection? What makes it different?
Oh, so many things that we do are different. It's about 700 dedicated and loyal employees committed to providing world-class customer experience. It's about a great hassle-free, haggle-free sales experience, non-confrontational selling, relationship building, locations, 9 sales, 11 service locations across the network, and also about selection, 4,000 vehicles anytime you walk into one of our organizations. you have access to 4,000 vehicles as a customer.
Union right now, by the way, as you saw the play there, incomplete pass, so they now have a 4th 10, a decision to be made for them, decision to be made for people to come in to Tulsa Auto Collection. Not much of a decision. It's an obvious choice, and your customer first program is one of the main reasons.
Absolutely. Our newest customer service initiative is taking the 300 service bays across the network and leveraging those so that there's almost a no-wait kind of atmosphere. If you come into one of our locations and the drive is full, we can leverage that network to enable that customer to get to another location quickly and take full advantage of all of our qualified, certified technicians and 11 service locations across the network.
Well, thank you again for being with us, Jim Evans. We appreciate it very much, you being with us, and also the cooperation of the Tulsa Auto Collection making this possible.
My pleasure. We're happy to be a small part of it.
Don and JV, we saw there's no problem with the Tulsa Auto Collection, but there was a problem there with the field goal attempt. No more points for Union, so they come away empty-handed. Jinx has got the ball, trailing 7-zip.
Thank you, Jack. And I'm not sure. I wonder if that was a design play, Coach Haney, or if that was a fumbled snap.
I don't think it was design play, but defensively, Jared Bowling made a great play coming in there and stopping it.
So Jenks dodges the big bullet. First down from the 19. They need to get this guy cranking. He turns the corner. Out of bounds he goes. And that'll be very close to the first down marker. Kejuan Jones, he has had some kind of career. 1,000-yard rushing as a sophomore at Nathan Hale, transferred to Jenks last year, and had 25 touchdowns for the state champs.
And Don, that was a great motivating stand there by the Jenks defense and preventing Union from getting any points on the board after turning it over so far inside the 50-yard line that they did. You can see their offense, I think, will pick up momentum as a result of what their defense did.
He's 5th in the state now in touchdowns with 6 here in the early going.
I think you notice that aspect of football maybe a little more on a high school level than on the college level, that the defense and the offense just play off of one another. They feed off the energy, and that was a great stand, a very important stand by the Jenks defense, and their offense will come back out and play just a little better, it seems like, every time, regardless of which team it is.
About 35,000 on hand tonight. Good crowd as Bill Blankenship looks on. Has this game changed, JB, since, as you see Kejuan's numbers in the early going, has this game changed since it's now a non-district game when they used to play for the district championship?
Oh, yes. Yes, I don't think you would see it being played in Skelly Stadium if it were a district game, but this game means nothing toward advancing to the state playoffs, and it's just good for everyone, but coaches are reluctant to give up that home field advantage when it's district time.
Nothing but pride on the line between these two, at least in this particular meeting. And they have played for the 6A gold ball the last 2 seasons. 2nd and inches, and now make it 3rd and long. And Josh Dupree, number 44, comes in. He's playing with a fractured thumb. There's a look at his cast on his right hand, but he didn't have any problem stopping Bobby Klink on his first carry.
He blitzes. He comes through there, and there is no doubt about him going square up with Bobby Klink, and that's a good offensive player, a good defensive player. That's just a great football play.
He led the team in tackles a year ago. He leads them in tackles in the early going in the year 2000. A loss of 5. And now McCoy, the Trojans, set up for the play action. They come after him and tipped. Nice play by Mansfield, the linebacker, who made his first start as a sophomore in the state semifinals 2 years ago against Lawton. And now Jenks has to punt again. Well, they didn't get a first down, JV, in the last 3 quarters, and they've only got 2 here in the first quarter tonight.
And Daryl Mansfield here, he gets a hand on it, but he's not able to get both hands on it. Deflects it for an incompletion, but you can see he's a little disgust because he could see the goal line if he could have intercepted it.
They got 2 first downs in their first 3 plays, and since then they have not been able to get a lot done offensively. And this punt, they do get it off to Spavataw, and he's near midfield. And that's where Union will set up, leading 7-0 as we get close to the end of the first quarter. Welcome back to the Tulsa Auto Collection Game of the Week. Don King, J.V. Haney, Jack Buns, and the rest of our crew here from Cox Communications. Hoping you're enjoying the action, as well as the some 30 to 35,000 here at Skelly Stadium. Take a look at Tyler's numbers in the early going. JB, I mentioned that when he started at quarterback, he was really a good athlete playing quarterback. I thought in the state championship game he really came into his own, but he told me the other day that he really, looking back at the tape, was still an athlete. He said, I've really learned to play quarterback over the summer and feels he will not make some of the mistakes he made against Jenks in his last 2 games.
Well, I think that's the attitude that good athletes have, Don. They always see the room for improvement.
They still work 38, Trinity Dawson. They've had 1,000-yard rushers in the past, and Dawson's trying to become one of them. 98, Brandon Lohr makes the stop on the short yardage play.
The Union maintaining great field position throughout the first quarter, and that could change once you have to start punting against the wind.
There's a look at the rushing numbers. And most of that was Kejuan's first carry of the game, good for 23. After a gain of 2 from the 49, now to the Jenks 49. They load the gun, and Dawson is on the loose. And Jay Henry makes the tackle, or Dawson might have been to the house.
That's great blocking in there on the line. You see a pull, and it looked like the guard pull really opened things up, and then just great running, great cutting, great balance by Trinity Dawson.
And a great job by Dawson. He was back in the backfield, you might have seen, and then came from behind to make the stop after the 10-yard scoot by number 38, Trinity Dawson. 5'10", 178-pound senior. Timeout. Less than a minute to go, first quarter, and we're coming right back. .54 seconds remaining, opening quarter from Skelly Stadium. Week number 3 of the 2000 prep season. Don King, JB Haney, Jack Buns with you. We welcome you to the final 54 seconds of the Tulsa Auto Collection Game of the Week. Union lost 32 seniors a year ago, but here they are, number 2 in the state, leading 7-0. And a flag is down after Gooch goes down. And about the 36-yard line after a gain of 3. Jay Henry making the stop, and apparently a flag against the Trojans.
Dead ball, personal foul.
The Jenks fans don't like it. Let's take a look.
Always a big break when you can get one of those in crucial situations, and Tyler Gooch coming in. I don't know where the foul will come from. Right there.
Right there, yeah.
Right there, a headbutt, good call.
Personal foul against the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty. That'll be a first down by measurement.
5th first down of the night for the Redskins, and they have it again deep in Jenks territory, as they have had throughout this opening period, leading 7-0. They failed to score a field goal their last series. They load the gun again. Janae has caught one pass. Instead, it's Dawson trying to get to the outside, and Jared Bowling from his linebacker position makes the stop after he was called for a late hit just on the previous play.
And that's good lateral movement in there by the linebacker, Jared Bowling, on the pitch, because he covers a lot of ground there and makes him run east-west instead of north and south. You can see number 7, Jared Bowling, fighting off the block, coming right on in, wrapping him up.
I can't remember too many players able to turn the corner on Jenks defense the last 4 or 5 years.
But when you get linebackers that can move the way the Jenks linebackers do, it is very difficult, Don, to turn.
That's the end of the opening quarter from Skelly Stadium. The Union Redskins scored the first time they got the ball when Jenks dropped a punt. After 1, it's number 2 ranked Union leading the top-ranked Trojans 7-0 on the Cox Communications Game of the Week. Well, I hope he's having fun. I know we are, and we hope you are as well on this beautiful evening from Tulsa. Tulsa Auto Collection takes you into the second quarter. Union leading 7-0. They're knocking on the door for yet another score.
Another big defensive series coming up here in the second quarter for the Trojans. They held out once late in the first period. See if they can do it again.
Tyler Gooch, the quarterback. He's dangerous, especially when he's in the open field. He loves to run with the football as well as pass. Last year he accounted for 2,500 total yards in 14 games. Dawson almost broke through there and still on his feet. Nice hard running by the senior Trinity Dawson as Bobby Klink finally brought him down. Dawson had been in the shadows of Jason York.
And you look here at Trinity Dawson, he gets in there and almost he's held up right there. You think he stopped. No, he slides off, keeps on churning. He's got those real strong legs. Picks up that extra yardage.
That was a second down play, and now it makes it third down. And 3.
7 rushes for 11 yards for Trinity.
Oh, they keep using the option. It works for the first down as Dawson dives inside the 10. And Mike Holmes coming up. There's a look at Mike to make his stop.
And this is a part of the offense of the Union Redskins that you don't see a lot of as the option, but it's certainly giving them dividends here tonight at Skelly.
So a first and goal situation just inside the 10-yard line at the Trojan 9. Gooch continues to keep the ball on the ground. I'm a little surprised. Well, why not when Dawson starts to eat yardage like that? Eric Lindemann, out of his linebacker position, makes the stop. Lindemann's one of the many Jenks Trojans that just wait for their chance before they're seniors, and then finally their senior year arrives and they make the most of it.
Getting some great blocking up in front by the Union offensive line. Guzman, Rooney, Barnes doing an excellent job in there.
Here comes the 10th play of our drive. Second and goal from the Jenks 6-yard line. Minute and a half gone, second quarter. Spencer McElwain, nowhere to go, and the Legion of Doom is back with Klink and Henry. McElwain is a youngster that came on as a freshman last year in the postseason, and he's backing up Dawson here in the early going.
You know, on a quick pitch like that, you would think you might be able to turn the corner, but Bobby Klink really coming across, and there was great pursuit in there as well by Brian Pickler as well.
Pickrell's a junior, but he's going to be one of the top defensive linemen in the state before this season is done. Well, it's third and goal now from the Jenks 11. I bet they throw it now. They got Janae to the right. Nope, draw play. Dawson, or this might be McElwain. It's to the 5-yard line. It'll be fourth down. It is Dawson again, and Travis Hicks comes over from the corner to make the stop.
That's just kind of a delay, and you see some great blocking coming out up in front in there, led in there by Blake Smith, giving him the extra 2 or 3 yards that he was trying to get.
Well, Gibbons is a pretty good field goal kicker, 6 out of 11 a year ago. Now, remember, they had one earlier in this game that they either faked or botched. 21-yarder here. It's got the distance, and it's good. So 8:58 to go before halftime, and the Redskins open the lead to 10-0. Be part of the program tonight. Log on to TulsaSportsWeb.com on your World Wide Web. And we have a trivia question for you. Who was the leading rusher in the 1998 6A state championship game between these two schools? Bobby Klink, Ben Bowling, who's now at OSU, Danny Morris now at Kansas State, or Tyler Gooch? 4 pretty good players right there. All you need to do is get online. If you are one that guesses it correctly, you go into the hopper, and your name could be pulled out to be our winner tonight.
You could take those 4 players and have a pretty good backfield, couldn't you?
You could start there and
yes, you could
have a few wins under your belt.
That's right. And have a little depth at quarterback.
Yep. Jason Carter awaits the kick. He'd love to get Jenks back in the game with this kickoff return. He coughs it up, but the Trojans, I think, covered at the 24.
Special teams once again playing a significant part here. Great recovery on the part of Jenks.
Let's take a look at it again. This is Jones off his knee.
Just wasn't able to get the handle on it. Oh, it looked like Jones ended up getting the ball, just really scrambling for it.
Well, in years past, this is where Jenks really plays ball control. 8:54 to go before halftime. We've seen them go 8 minutes in a situation like this and score with great ball control. Now they don't want to run. They try to pass. McCoy, nowhere to go. He's going to be dropped for about a 3-yard loss. Let's go down to Jack.
Well, it's been Union so far, and they couldn't be happier, not only for the way things are going on the field, but up in the stands, they're estimating there are 37,000 people that are here, paid attendance. That's going to help pay their way to Clovis, California next year and pay for a lot more stuff, too, for the Union High School program.
Well, they have indeed packed both sides of the stadium. The end zones are a little scarce, especially on the north end zone. McCoy over the middle. They need something good to happen to this Jenks offense, and I think that young man came back and made a great catch. Zach Edwards, the young sophomore.
This is really getting crucial on the part of the Trojans here in the first half. They need to get some offense going. There's a nice pass in there by Scott McCoy.
He reached back and one-handed it.
That's right. That's great concentration when it's not perfectly thrown for you.
Look at Josh's contacts. I think he's got one green and one red one. 3rd and 7 into the seam and a first down at the 41-yard line for Kejuan Jones. We talk about his prowess as a running back. He's also one of their top receivers the last 2 seasons, as number 13 makes the stop, the nickelback Keith Ford.
That's nice setup in there by Scott McCoy and Kejuan Jones out of the backfield. A good crossover pattern and great concentration, looking the ball right in. A good tackle in there by Jonathan Chisholm.
Look at McCoy's numbers. Not bad. That's about where he is for the season.
50%. Can't complain on that.
Set up the screen, and they had that one pretty well set up. Union did, and McCoy gets decked, and so Scott was probably pretty fortunate to get rid of it and overthrow the receiver to make it 2nd and 10. Alan Trimble thinks, though, that a penalty should have been called. Let's see if there was a late hit.
He thought, I think there was an interference call over there. Kejuan Jones indicated the same thing, that he was interfered with, but that's a pretty good lick in there Scott McCoy takes after he threw the ball.
Pete Knapp, the nose tackle.
Alan Trimble pleaded his case, but to no avail.
Bill Blankenship, 81 wins at Union. They've been undefeated through the regular season the last 2 years. Jones bounces off the tackle, but a nice trip right there. I can't tell who it was. I think it might have been 96. Mike Ryan, who tripped him up. 35's in the picture. It could have been Billy Ramey, the strong safety. Nevertheless, Jones gets tripped up. As for a moment, it looked like he might have gotten to go someplace. Oh, it was Dupree.
Looked like Josh Dupree in there that originally slowed him down, and then the pursuit, the swarming defense of the Redskins.
Well, McCoy completed a 3rd down pass a moment ago. He's got 3rd and 8 here from the 43. 6:35 to go. The blitz is on. Great block on the cutback. Jones makes him pay for it. He's got a first down, and he fumbles the football. One of the best officiating crews is there. And the pretzel is dislodged, and Jenks comes away with it.
I think that was Kejuan Jones who was able to recover his own fumble in there, but it really looked like Jerome Janae was going to come up with it. You just can't see when the swarm comes in. He drops it, but right there he was able to scoop it back up.
Boy, Janae was right in the middle of that. Surprising that he didn't come up with it. Well, something bouncing right for the Trojans here at the Union 44-yard line midway through the 2nd quarter. Kejuan on the counter. Or this is Klink, I beg your pardon, to the 30. Nice balance. Great balance, and he loses it out of bounds. But a great run by Bobby Klink to the 20-yard line. Billy Ramey ran into him to make sure he didn't get any further.
Now this is what Bobby Klink is so good at. He will break off tackles. He'll trip. Looks like he's going down, but he's able to go ahead. Now here's a great move. Makes a miss in there. Finally, Billy Ramey comes across after a spin off there and is able to get him down.
That's the kind of hitting we are accustomed to seeing when these two get together.
And that was a pretty good lick in there that Billy Ramey put on him. You saw the ball squirt out across the sideline there.
Bobby needs to take a breather after that collision. So it's first down at the Union 20, and Jenks needs a timeout because they're in their best field position of the night. Let's go downstairs to Jack Bond.
Last couple of plays I want to talk about. Kejuan Jones has put the ball on the turf twice. As you pointed out, he recovered both of those fumbles. Bobby Klink then had the sensational run. Why I point out those two particular individuals is because on the Jenks sideline right now, Mike Mangino, offensive coordinator for the University of Oklahoma, he'd like to see Kejuan playing for the Sooners next year. And then you've also got Bobby Klink, who Mike Stoops, who's also on the other sideline, defensive coordinator for the Oklahoma Sooners, would like to see down in Norman next year playing defense. So very important time for those guys to kind of show off their stuff with two possibly future coaches. As a matter of fact, Kejuan has told me he'd like to go to Oklahoma. The only thing that concerns him is that Oklahoma doesn't run the type of offense that's good for a running back. He's also considering schools like TCU, and plenty of other schools are in the picture as well. Bobby Klink, of course, defensive back extraordinaire, is being recruited by the University of Nebraska heavily too.
All right, thank you, Jack. And we've got more football for you on Friday night. Our pregame at 6:30, the kickoff at 7 as Westmore, the Jaguars, take on Dell City and their fine quarterback. I hope you'll join us for that game tomorrow night. Oklahoma City, Channel 3, and the Tulsa area, Channel 9. We continue with our Thursday night game. Jenks trying to get on the board before halftime. And Kejuan will be lucky to get a yard, and that is about it. Both teams testing young, inexperienced offensive lines. Darryl Mansfield on the stop.
And you know Alan Trimble and his coaching staff are really doing everything they can to encourage those kids to get some points on the board here in the second quarter. They don't want to go in being shut out the first half.
Yeah, you're right. They need at least 3 here before halftime. Stuart Lamb is in at fullback. Jones the tailback. Quarterback is McCoy, wide receiver to each side. Holmes at the bottom of your screen. Carter at the top. And what do we got here? I think a timeout. Another timeout, Jenks. They want to make sure they don't make any more mistakes before halftime. 5:20 remaining. A state record in the making tonight, the largest crowd to ever watch a regular season high school game in the state of Oklahoma. 31,000 plus here tonight, I am told. And you at home watching Jenks trying to get on the board. 2nd and 9, just inside the Union 15. That will probably go down as an incomplete pass.
Pass was intended in there to Jason Carter, number 1, coming back in, and there may have been a little flea flicker in motion on that one, Don, had that been completed.
Trying to come back for Carter, and he couldn't hang on to it. Josh Dupree out of that middle linebacker position. There's our official attendance tonight, 31,555, the largest, again, to ever watch a regular season game in Oklahoma. And McCoy's back. They're on him. He fires incomplete. That's about all he could do. The pass intended. Keith Ford on the coverage, and the pass intended for Mike Holmes. What do we got? A flag here, apparently. Dave
flag.
Thomas.
Roughing.
Uh-oh. Roughing the passer, Union. So a break goes the Trojans' way.
And that's a big break for the Trojan there. We'll get a good look at it here as Scott McCoy goes back to set up his pass.
Roughing the passer on the defense. That's half the distance to the goal. An automatic First down.
That's a great break for the offense of the Trojans.
6th first down of the night for Jenks. 4 in this drive that started back at their 24-yard line. They have converted on 2 third downs. Now 3 after that penalty. So they're just inside the 10. Jones, who has a great nose for the goal line, gets to the 5. 73, Brandon Naylor comes in on that goal line defensive line and is in there to make the stop. Let's take a look.
Just a straight handoff in there. Good blocking by the line, but Naylor, he comes across there really with an aggressive tackle.
Double tight end situation. Jones dancing to the outside. He uses his strength there, and he is in for the touchdown, and the Trojans are on the board. Well, with 4.5 minutes to go, first half, they put together a pretty strong drive, obviously, to get on the board. And they showed you why they are 42-2 on the road or at neutral sites in the last 44 games. The kick is up and good. And with 4.5 to go first half, Tyler Wilkie has pulled his team to within 3 points. Five-yard touchdown run by Kejuan Jones, the 7th of the year in this young season for the Jenks running back.
You get Kejuan Jones inside the 5-yard line. He has such strong legs in his running. And he was hit there about the 3-yard line, but he's just not going to go down when he gets close to that goal line. And you can see the strength that he has, the determination that he has driving on through there, getting the nose of the ball over the goal line for the TD.
So both teams put very strong drives back to back.
Here's another look at the touchdown. You can see him cut in there inside a great block that was thrown by Adam Travis that just really was good for him. That really was sprung him right there's the nice block.
And our thanks on the scoring drive, 12 plays, 76 yards. Union had a 10-play drive for their field goal in their previous possession. 4.5 minutes to go. First half. Here's a look at the TulsaSportsWeb.com promo. Who was the leading rusher in the 1998 6A State Championship game? You can get online and be a part of the program tonight. Was it Bobby Klink, Ben Bowling, Danny Morris, or Tyler Gooch? 2 great running backs and 2 very good quarterbacks. Nice shot of Ramsey Stevens, one of the backup running backs, ready for the kick. With the wind, this one could be returned and will be at the 1-yard line. And Stevens is short of the 20 at the 19.
Good downfield coverage by the Jenks kicking team. Good field position for the kicking team.
So Union tries to set up something here as Wilkie makes the stop. The Redskins would love to put more points on the board. Tyler Gooch, who has some pretty good numbers in this first half. He's only thrown 5 times. That's unusual because Union usually is throwing much more than that.
Well, I think this north wind is going to limit the passing of both teams when they head into it. And, of course, right now the Union Redskins are heading right into the teeth of the north wind.
Good point, Coach. They have not passed in this second quarter with their face into the wind.
But we know the offense of Bill Blankenship, he'll kind of set you up and lull you to sleep right there. And when you least expect it, that's when Jerome Janae will do his sprint and they'll throw the football.
Have time on the coverage, Mike Holmes. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 8, looking for J.J. Sheffield, the number 3 wideout. Tyler stands in there pretty good, doesn't he?
He really does. He's a confident quarterback. He knows what his capability and his ability is. But this is a very, very big 3rd down, simply, Don, because of the wind. They don't get this. They've got to kick into the wind, which means good field position for Jenks.
Tyler really stands in the pocket very well and has a 3rd and 8 here from the 21. He sends Dawson out of the backfield, and that might have cost him because Tyler's in trouble, and down he goes at the 15-yard line. Pickrell again. He's all over the place. Number 99, Brian Pickrell, 6'4", 220-pound junior.
And he is really playing possessed tonight. He is going after that football, keeping his balance. Gets up, he misses him, but he gets right back up and comes in and makes the tackle. That's almost like making 2 tackles because he barely missed him on one, got up and pursued and got him again.
4th down. Gooch apparently the blocking back, and this is the first punt of the night for Zach Spavital. Averaging 35 yards a kick, taken at the 45-yard line. Looked like he might have had a knee down. That's not the case, and Klink's on the loose again and dives inside the 20-yard line.
Bobby Klink, one of the state's best once he kind of gets out where he's got a little maneuvering room. Great cut there, great balance, picks up his blockers, gets to the outside. You can't arm tackle him, you've got to hit him straight up. Does a great spin move there, gets away from 2 blockers. It's just as though you can't get him down finally. On the hurdle, he is brought down. That's just a great return, great field position, a great opportunity for Jenks here to take the lead before the half, Don.
And then we have a penalty. Don't forget, you can stay with us on Cox.
Flipping on the return team. 1st down.
You can stay with Cox exclusively in Tulsa and Oklahoma City for the 5A and 6A state championship coverage. First weekend of December. We'll take you all the way through. And certainly looking forward to do that.
Penalty is always such a crucial part of a football game, and especially in a close one. And this was really a crucial penalty for Jenks. They would be down there knocking on the door, and now setting back out the 45-yard line, a little different look at the field.
Well, they're back where they caught the punt, so the 27-yard punt return is wiped out. McCoy flushed out of the pocket. Down he goes. Darrell Mansfield, he's got great lateral movement, speed out of that linebacker position. And the senior comes up to make sure McCoy doesn't go anywhere. No gain on the play.
And it really looked like that Mansfield was going to be blocked out of the picture, but he's able to get back in there and just get his hands right around him and hold on. Great strength there in his arms and hands.
Pete Knapp, the nose tackle, also helping out, number 58. Clock is ticking. 2:15 to go. Trojans down by 3. 2 receivers, the top of your screen. One to the bottom, and Carter's the speedster at the bottom. Instead, it's a running play. And this is Kerwin Vanfield, the number 3 running back. He's another one of those guys I told you about that just sits and waits patiently until he's a senior so that he can get some playing time. Billy Ramey coming up to make the stop.
And Vanfield, a lot like Bobby Klink. If you watch, once the contact comes, he gets his spin movement, able to spin out of the grasp of the tackler and get that extra few yards.
Picks up 5 to make it 3rd and 5 from the Union 40. A look at Billy Ramey. 1 timeout each. We're under a minute and a half. McCoy has to throw on the move. Incomplete. No flag. Spavital, number 30, on the coverage. Looking for Garrett Mills on this particular play.
Nice fake inside, then a sprint out. He gets good protection in there. He's got time to throw the football. Although he is pursued pretty heavily in there, but he got rid of it cleanly. Just wasn't able to quite complete it.
Barnes, the defensive end, who again had 4 sacks in the season opener.
Garrett Mills was the intended receiver there, but he couldn't quite get there.
Wilkie with the punt, looking for the corner. Nice bounce. Spavital picks it up, and down he goes. The 15-yard line, and Garrett Mills made sure he went no further.
You know, there's one thing about the new artificial grass here at Skelly Stadium, and we noticed it last week out at Broken Arrow, is you don't get the bounce off the punts and the kicks that you normally do on hard surface.
I talked to Bill Blankenship about that, and he thought that this field here was a little more bouncy than what we saw at Broken Arrow, and he could be right. But both of them, I agree with you, JV. You don't get a lot of roll on these particular surfaces.
It just seems like that they hit and just more or less die.
Well, we're a minute 11 from halftime, and what a halftime show we have for you. The blitz is on. Gooch, though, sees it and comes this way. And Pickrell is all over the field to make yet another stop. Gooch picks up 4 after all of that. Gooch is also an outstanding baseball player, a third baseman that hit well over 400 a year ago.
Well, here you can see the nice sprint out and the nice pursuit and the catch in there by Pickrell. And it's going to be fun for Pickrell tomorrow when they look at the team film, Don. He's going to sit back and enjoy himself because he's done an outstanding job.
Down to the final 32 seconds. Gooch off to Dawson, and he gets stood up. Jay Henry punishes him after Pickrell got to stand him up, and that might be it for the first half. Brian Pickrell has played some kind of first half. This first half dominated by the Redskins, but the Trojans always seem to hang in there. Even though they got dominated in the first half, Coach, they've hung in there and have made it a 3-point game as we head to the locker room.
They always hang in there. And you look at Pickrell, he's 6'4", 220, 11th grader. Think what he'll be next year as a senior.
Well, they've lived up to the billing once again, have they not? 10-7, Union leading the #1 ranked team in the state, the #2 ranked team in the country. 10-7 here at halftime at Skelly Stadium, and our pageantry will continue in a moment with the pom-pom squads and the dance teams and the bands. Before we do that, let's go down to Jack.
Got Alan Trimble here with us. You guys have more yardage. Kind of a tale of 2 quarters. They dominated the first. You guys came back in the second.
Yeah, I feel pretty good because I don't know if we can play any worse and still be in the game. Our special teams have been really disappointing. We're going to have to really make some adjustments at halftime.
Did you see anything that was real positive out of the first half, too, because you guys did come back strong?
Oh, sure. I see when we execute, we can move the ball. Our defense plays well when we line up. We just got to go make some adjustments and come back out with a little more intensity.
All righty, good luck in the second half. Appreciate it. Alan Trimble, the coach of the #1 team in the state, #2 in the country, the Jenks Trojans.
We'll come back with our pageantry here at Skelly Stadium. We are at intermission, and we hope you're enjoying it as much as we're enjoyed bringing it to you on Cox Communications. We got a special guest here in the booth. We'll take a visit with him later. Right now, let's go down to the field and catch some of the pageantry that makes Jenks Union what it is today. Our 180 student of the week. Ten to 7 our score here at halftime. The Redskins scored the first time they got the ball when Jenks botched a punt, and Union went in for 7 on a Jerome Janae touchdown catch. They then got 3 more to make it 10-0, and in the second quarter, Jenks with a long drive to score before halftime to make it 10-7. Before we get to the Union band, we have a special guest here at halftime. JV?
Thank you, Don. We're visiting with John Starks, Tulsa Central High School. Oklahoma Junior College, Oklahoma State University, New York Knicks, and now with the Utah Jazz. John, thanks for joining us at halftime.
Well, thanks for having me here.
And of course, what we want to look at is the John Starks and Lee Mayberry All-Star Classic coming up here on Saturday night. And tell us about the benefit and what you're going to provide funds for and the good things you do for the city.
Well, as you know, I have an educational foundation that I started about 5 years ago where I provide scholarships to area high school students around Tulsa. The money goes to that as well as the inner city camps that me, Lee, and Clint Mayberry has been doing over the last 3 or 4 years. So money is going to good use to help provide teaching to young people that otherwise we haven't get a chance to go to, at camps that you have to pay for.
You know, you're just do so much, John, for the kids in Tulsa and for the community, and you bring in all of these All-Stars. Who we might see in this year's All-Star Classic?
You're going to see some young, hotshot, young guns of the league. Stephon Marbury will be here, as you know, one of the most exciting guards out there, as well as Steve Francis, the co-rookie of the year last year, as well as Lamar Odom. You're going to see him, Marcus Camby, Theo Ratliff, Walter McCarty. You're going to see some high-flying showmanship out there. And these type of games, just like to go out here and roll the ball out and tell the young guys go.
You're going to bring Wayman Tisdale out of retirement for this one?
I hope. I think right now he's kind of well immersed into his music right now, but we just wish him the best of luck.
Well, John, tell us about the tickets, where our viewers and listeners can find tickets to attend this event.
Well, you can go to all Carson attractions. Everybody know Carson attractions where you can pick the tickets up at. They $20, $30, and $50 seats. And we just want the city of Tulsa to come out and support these type of events because the NBA look at how the events go, so they determine whether or not that they can provide, teams that come here and put on the NBA game. So we want to show the NBA that Tulsa has a lot of support here, and we look forward to NBA basketball soon.
Very important for people to get their tickets, and that's Saturday night at the Convention Center.
At 7 o'clock p.m. sharp.
And I think we need to ask you one last question here. John, let's talk a little bit about your career and your new career with the Utah Jazz.
Well, I think I made a good choice of choosing Utah. I think it's a veteran team, a team that know how to win, a team that's always on the verge of getting over that hump. And they feel like I'm the missing piece, and I hope that I am the missing piece. I would love to win a championship. I'm playing with two of the greatest players that ever played this game, and John Stockton and Karl Malone. So I'm looking forward to just getting my hands ready, getting them set, and get ready to shoot the basketball and receive those on time, right on my hands passes from John Stockton.
John, we appreciate you dropping by, and we want to wish you the very best of luck. And you know that Tulsa always supports you and are always behind you.
Well, thank you. I just want everybody to come on out and support this game because it's going to be a great event. Thank you.
Thanks a lot to John Starks. Now let's join the Union Band on the field.
Union Renegade Regiment. They have the Redskin fans on their feet. We are at halftime, and the Jenks Union affair continues after this timeout. We are dancing in the moonlight at Skelly Stadium. And why not? When number 1 and number 2 gets together, it's usually dancing in the streets. And the Redskins lead 10-7. There have been some major mistakes in this first half for both teams as we await more of the pageantry here at Skelly Stadium. There's the dog pound for the Redskins. They're having fun tonight. Both schools had huge pep rallies today, and they have turned out in force tonight, 31,555, the largest crowd to ever watch a regular season high school game in the state of Oklahoma. They established another record here at Skelly Stadium back in December when these two schools met, before a sellout crowd of 40,385 for the state championship. These two schools have met the last 2 years for the state championship. Jenks winning both affairs, 41-28 at Skelly Stadium in '98, and last year here at TU by a score of 14-7. Benny Dixon is the athletic director at Union, and he always has a little bit of showmanship in his briefcase, and he pulls it out again tonight, as close to 300 or maybe over 300 girls will come out here tonight. Actually, 400 will come out here tonight and perform. This is in the entire Union Spirit group, 400 strong. Kristen Hale is the director. She has done a great job at Union the past few seasons. She's the one that really choreographs this and really puts it together. Not only has this been a feature here, also next door at the Reynolds Center, Union Athletic Director Benny Dixon brought in a nationally well-known science museum and a science center that cost $20,000, but he charged very minimal for students to come in and look at the center yesterday, or actually today, tomorrow, and Saturday to help pay for it. So this has turned into a 3-day affair here at the TU campus, thanks to the Union Jenks game. Well, and we have talked, JB, this past week about, is this particular rivalry getting too big? Because we had 40,000 plus here for the state championship, 31,000 tonight. And both athletic directors, the coaches, all say the same thing, that once it gets past being for the kids, then yes, it's a big deal. But you're right, this is for the kids. This is an opportunity for them to play in front of a crowd that they may never play in front of again. Most of these high school kids will never play in front of a crowd like this or play on this type, in this type of setting. And the same for these young ladies who are performing here at halftime. Well, I've had people call on the Sports Radio 1430 radio show and say, well, in Texas, it's normal, and in Ohio, but the Tulsa World did some research, and they could not find where there was a game in Texas that was attended by more than 40,000 people. In Ohio, there was a game, I think it was Ohio or Pennsylvania, that there was a game that was in fact attended by 50,000 recently. .400 strong here on the turf at Skelly Stadium, performing for you at halftime. And they have a finale that we probably won't forget. And Benny usually has the fireworks going off before we start the second half. That's got to be kind of tough in this wind, handling that. You know, we talk about the football players and the grueling two-a-days in August and practice after school until 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. These young ladies and the bands, you see them there at 6 o'clock in the morning before school even starts. And now they have put together the American flag and a standing ovation as
Great halftime show, and we're coming back for the second half kickoff when we continue on Cox Communications. Well, as both teams come back to get ready to kick off the second half of our Tulsa Auto Collection Game of the Week, we will give you some of the highlights and lowlights, unfortunately, of this first half, because there were a few mistakes, and this was the first key mistake of the game.
That was the fumble on the attempted punt, Don, and this sets up Union in great position in which they'll make the pass in there by Tyler Gooch, and Union will go up after the PAT 7-0.
That was a third down, and then they got another short punt. Actually, they forced Jenks to run on a fourth down punt situation, botched the field goal. Here they do get a field goal and go ahead 10-0. But Jenks needed to score, and they drove right back, and Kejuan Jones got it in from 5 yards out. The extra point good. That made it 10-7 here at intermission.
And you look at total yardage here, and that's a surprise, I think, to a lot of people. Jenks 95 to Union 66. Jenks has outrushed them 51-26. Just not dominating offense. Jenks 44-40 in the passing. Penalties has been a big factor here. 4 for Jenks, only 1 for Union, and that's the final score. No turnovers, 10-7.
Well, maybe no turnovers, but a couple of botched punts by Jenks really cost them. It cost them 7 on the drop punt, and then they were forced to run on the punt. Although Union missed a field goal, they did come back to make a field goal. Jenks has made a couple of mistakes. Besides the 2 muffed punts, if you will, they had a penalty after a punt return that set them up, JB, with a score to either tie it or a touchdown to go ahead with 2 minutes left in the first half. After Bobby Klink returned to punt inside the 20, a penalty knocked him back to midfield. Union, though, with a couple of problems. That missed field goal I alluded to, and then they had a penalty on that Jenks touchdown drive when it was 3rd down and long, and Union had a personal foul against him that gave Jenks a first down inside the 10, and the Trojans able to knock it in. So both teams with some key mistakes in the first half.
And I'm sure that those mistakes were addressed by both coaching staffs, Don, during the halftime. But overall, you had to give credit to both defenses for really playing exceptionally good football here in the first half.
And I think some of that, JB, has to do, you look at what Union lost last year with 32 seniors, and this is center stage for still a lot of these kids, like the offensive line for Union, and Jenks as well, with a lot of new players on that offensive line. This is quite an atmosphere. I mean, it's a little wide-eyed when you get out here and see 31,000. And maybe in the second half, both of these teams will settle down a little bit more and not have some of those key mistakes that they did in the first half.
Well, even though both teams are heavily laden with senior leadership here, Don, and many of them have not been starters, but that is the mark of a good program when your seniors and your juniors just keep filling in year after year. So a lot of times, even though they may be a first-year starter as a senior, they've had some experience, they've been through the wars, and they know what is expected of them.
So the Redskins lead it 10-7. It's the 3rd time in the last 4 years both teams have come into this game undefeated. And we are ready for the second half. We hope you are as well. The Tulsa Auto Collection Game of the Week from Skelly Stadium. Let's go down to Jack Bond.
With Bill Blankenship, the head coach of the Union Redskins, you lead at half, but this is kind of like the old Orange Bowl at the 30-minute half. It's kind of like everybody gets cold, got to get warm right back up.
Yeah, I really hope we can get cranked back up again. I know everybody's got the same thing going. It's just kind of a strange first half. It just seemed like kind of ebb and flow, and just kind of figuring out, you need to ebb more than we flow, I guess.
Special teams did a marvelous job in that first half. Wind could play a factor late.
Well, it really could. We expect the wind's going to continue, but our special teams played well early, got a couple of turnovers, but we weren't able to capitalize on them both.
Well, appreciate your time. Okay. Good luck in the second half. Coach Bill Blankenship of the Union Redskins, ranked number 2 in the state.
All right, thank you, Jack. Let's take a look at some other Thursday night games going on for you. These two teams are 2-0, but the Pioneers winning at Tahlequah 17-0. And one other game in the Tulsa metro area. Webster's off to a 2-0 start, JB. One of your old stomping grounds. They're leading Memorial at Webster tonight. 7-0 is that score at halftime.
And Coach Harper doing an excellent job at Webster High School with a chance to go up 3-0, and it's been several years, if they hold on, that Webster has opened the season with 3 consecutive wins.
They have dropped to 4A, and that has helped them a bit, as Ramsey Stevens
awaits the second half kickoff. 10-7, Union leading. Tyler Wilkie, whose father was the wrestling coach in Stillwater a few years ago, then went to Jenks. He is now a principal in the Jenks school system. He boots it. We're underway. Let's get it on in the second half. Taken at the 8-yard line. Ramsey Stevens dancing to the 15, finds a window, and caught from behind. Jared Reckna makes the stop as Ramsey Stevens does a nice job to get this second half underway.
And that's an excellent return in there by Ramsey Stevens, Don, because he showed you some elusiveness as well. Once he takes the ball, he didn't get that first block up front. He came right out of it, but got in there in the traffic and doing a little juking left and right and just really picking up some good yardage to get out of the side of the 20-yard line.
Tyler Gooch, what we see, only 5 passes in the first half. How unusual is that? 6. Here's Dawson looking for room, and he finds it, and he moves the chains again. Brandon Lohr comes up along with Bobby Klink to make the stop. Best run of the night for the senior for Union.
Well, you have to look ahead to the fourth period, and Union will have the win the fourth period. Here's just an excellent run in there by Trinity Dawson, and once he gets outside, he gets a great block from the corner from the wide receiver coming back in to spring him.
Union had no first downs in that second quarter. That is their 5th of the game. Gooch looking for room. He takes a pounding by number 7, Jared Bowling, whose brother is Ben, backup quarterback at Oklahoma State. And a gain of 2. You look at Tyler Gooch there. His uncle is Ron Gooch out of the Midwest City area. Some in Oklahoma City might remember him as one of the top baseball players to come out of the Midwest City program, Oklahoma City, and then played professional baseball for many years. And mentioned earlier, Tyler, a very good baseball player himself. Ron and his family make the trek each week to catch Tyler playing. A lot of offensive guys in front, but Tyler couldn't find anything. And I think it was Lohr 98 that tripped him up. Make it 3rd down.
And you mentioned Jared Bowling. His father played professional baseball as well. Steve Bowling for Webster High School and University of Tulsa, went on with the Toronto Blue Jays. Outstanding athlete. It's in their genes.
It must be. Third and 6 from the 42 to start the second half. They go the option again. Dawson turns the corner. First down and more. Great block and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Big time play for the Redskins. We got a flag down and it might come back. Jack Bond says it might be a late hit. Indeed it is.
Keep bringing up the wind, Dom, but this is a great break to get tremendous field position for the Redskins going against the wind. And maybe this is not the most beautiful option play, but once Trinity gets a hold of it while he is gone, makes the corner, gets a great block out there by Zen J.J.
against
Sheffield.
the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, that really opens the door, doesn't it, for the second-ranked Skins inside the 25. They've been inside the 23 times and have come away with 10 points. Gooch being chased by Lohr and fires. Touchdown! Jonathan Chisholm has put the Redskins on the board again. Here's Gibbons to try the extra point. The hold by Gooch, and the kick is down the middle. What a way to open the second half for the Union Redskins. And it was helped by that personal foul penalty. Gooch to Chisholm, who wanted to play quarterback, but got moved to wideout, and it pays off. Tyler Gooch with his second touchdown pass of the night, Coach.
Well, Jonathan Chisholm comes across from the left side on the end and just makes a great, from the wide receiving position, makes a great cut across the end zone, and Tyler delivers it perfectly, and that's the reaction right there. You know it was right on the money.
74 yards in 5 plays, a little more than 2 minutes off the clock. Bill Blankenship loves it.
I think I saw a little smile there.
I think so. Coach B rather happy, and so is Jonathan Chisholm. I mentioned he was a backup quarterback to Gooch a year ago, and he came into his senior season wanting to play more, and they said, well, move to wide receiver, and he has certainly helped them.
But when you stretch a play out like that was stretched out in there by Tyler Gooch, you've got an opportunity to get someone open in the end zone.
21 Gibbons kicks off. This one's in the air. Union's got it, I believe. There's still a scramble at the 20. Jenks ball. Jason Carter comes up with it after he got burned. He got burned on the pass play.
You don't think there was some aggressive play going on underneath that pile of players?
I'll tell you what, they lose that ball, and Alan Trimble has a conniption fit.
They have had their problems with special teams tonight. Those are correctable errors, though, and then you'll see that the coaching staff from Jenks will really settle in on that.
First down, we'll call it at the 20 for Scott McCoy. Kejuan runs right into Dupree, who did a great job of fighting off the block. And the middle linebacker is off to a great start despite the fractured thumb to start the second half.
Steve Spavital, the defensive coordinator of the Union Redskins, always preaching that swarming defense, and once Dupree got his hands on, then the pursuit follows, and there's about 4 or 5 come in there.
Wes McCaleb, might remember him from the Oklahoma City area. From Moore, he is the offensive coordinator for Jenks.
Dupree does a great job. He fights off the block there by Adam Travis and just stays right with the play.
Holmes in motion. They look to Holmes, incomplete. Those are the kind of plays you have to complete here when you're down by 10 with 9 minutes to go in the third.
Little flare-out pass to the quarterback's right. Just tried to lift it over the lineman there, and it was a little too low, just almost impossible in there for the catch. Allen is a little bit, Coach Alan Trimble there on the screen.
A little frustrated.
Yes, he is. He's a little upset.
Third down, 13 from the 17. They need a big play. So McCoy rolls out, got some room, fires over the middle, incomplete. He had a man open at the 40-yard line in Carter. I don't think he could see him. Instead, he went for the home run play, and the Trojans are forced the punt, and McCoy is 1 for his last 6.
Well, I think you can understand the frustration in there by Coach Trimble and his staff, because they feel like that they're not getting things done the way they have rehearsed them, the way they've practiced them, and that creates a lot of frustration.
So again, Union set up in good field position, although Wilkie has the wind to his back, and he sails one out of bounds, and Union will get good field position near midfield with 8:51 to go, third quarter. Skins have the ball, up by 10. Welcome back to the Tulsa Auto Collection Game of the Week. Don King, J.B. Haney, Jack Bunce, producer Paul McFarland, and the rest of our Cox Communications crew welcoming you throughout the state. You're getting a peek at what could, for the third straight year, be a 6A state championship preview. It's interesting that the last 2 years, Union's won the regular season game. Jenks has won the state championship, and the Redskins leading here by 10
17-7 near midfield. They get the ball back for the second time, second half. And Gooch, that is a backwards pass. Here's the forward pass, and Janae's got it. The flea flicker works, and they'll mark it at the 13-yard line. And that's only the second catch tonight for the preseason Prep All-American. And who else but Chisholm, the guy we just told you about who caught the touchdown pass, was a former quarterback, and they fell for the bait, and it's good for 34 yards.
And of course, when you've got someone with the speed that Jerome Janae has coming across, and Chisholm just zeroes, not a bad spiral in there for a non-quarterback, but he had quarterback background. That's a great concentration catch by Jerome Janae.
Travis Hicks on the coverage to the Jenks 13. Trojans need a stand. They don't get it. Down to the 1-yard line goes the sophomore Spencer McElvain. And Mike Holmes saves the 6 points for Jenks.
This is really an inspired Union football team right now, Don. And you can see McElwain here. He's small, but he's a little stick of dynamite. Not going to go down, breaks loose from the tackles, and gets down to about the 1-yard line. Yeah, you don't think Tyler's going to take any chances, do you?
I don't think so. Touchdown Union. Gooch is thrown for 2, and he's now run for 1. There's a flag down after the PAT. 8:09 remaining here in the third quarter. The Redskins have come out with 2 very quick drives to put 13 on the board. David Thomas, our referee, checking with one of the officials. JB, will both teams keep it fairly vanilla in this game? Because again, this game really means nothing but pride, and certainly a lot of pride between the two schools. Let's get Dave Thomas's explanation.
Against the offense. After the play, then we have a dead ball penalty. We have a personal foul against 24 on White.
Bill says, I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, if the coach doesn't know, I don't think we know either, Don.
I would think that they would kick the PAT and very well could use the personal foul on the kickoff. Bill Blankenship.
I don't think there's any doubt that we are watching the 2 of the best 6A teams in the state of Oklahoma here, regardless of what the score ends up. These 2 teams right here will be a force in the state title this year. And I haven't seen all the teams on the west side, but these 2 teams are awfully good football teams.
We'll see 2 tomorrow, Westmore and Del City. Del City won their game last week after stumbling in the season opener. And the Jaguars of Westmore. Oh, another botch. Can they turn it into 2? Gooch calls for a fire, and he almost got it. Mike Holmes makes sure that it didn't go for 2. Wow. Timeout on the field with 8:09 to go in the third quarter. The Trojans get the ball back when we return. Let's take a look at the play here. I believe it was Mansfield 32 that got thumped.
That's a touchdown play. Tyler Gooch just slides down the line, finds the opening, and punches it in. Not taking any chances, handing it off, just the snap, and take it across.
And then Mansfield was hit rather hard by Holmes on the 2-point pass play after the
quarterback Gooch botched the extra point attempt. There's Mansfield taking a seat on the bench. He'll get helped by Dr. Keith Stanley of the Eastern Oklahoma Orthopedic Sports Medicine Center. Oh no, not a mosh pit. We're in trouble if that starts.
High school football, you can see it all, can't you?
Jason Carter grew up in the Beggs area and came to Jenks a few seasons ago. Had an older brother, Brian, that was very instrumental in the Trojans team the last 2 years. Well, it's 23-7. You get a touchdown here, you go for 2 and make it. You're 8 points down. So you're 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions away from tying the game. Plenty of time left, 8:09. Short kick, taken at the 20-yard line. Not much room, and out at about the 30-yard line. That is Jeff Hirschberg, a backup quarterback, a kicker, also plays a little cornerback.
Good coverage downfield by the Union kicking team. Keeps Jenks from gaining any type of real good field position here. And with their wind to their back, they need to do something.
Kejuan Jones. 42 yards rushing for Kejuan Jones in the first half, and half of that was on the first play of the game. So he has been shut down. McCoy, play action. Garrett Mills couldn't hang on to it.
Nice play. Looked like that was going to be a good gainer, but just couldn't quite hang on to it there. Garrett Mills couldn't.
Jenks is having trouble throwing the football, 1 for their last 7. This sets up second down, just under 8 minutes remaining before a crowd of 31,000. There's a look at the rushing yardage tonight. Union has the edge in that. And they should have the edge in passing, and they do. Not bad for Jenks considering they're 1 for their last 7.
And that edge has all come about here in the third period for Union.
Jenks and Jones, he needs some room, and he finds it. He broke a tackle. That's one thing that you really like about Kejuan Jones, JB. He keeps the legs moving at all times.
He and Bobby Klink both, I think, are just about as good as you can find. And in being tackled one-on-one, it's just almost impossible unless you really get them cornered where they don't have an avenue to go left or right on you.
Watch him get bottled up here and then just keep working.
Yeah, he bounces out and just finds another little seam, another little crease. And he's got those strong legs, keeps them churning, and is able to pick up that additional yard or 2.
And that's the first down of the second half for Jenks. Remember in the state championship game, they were held without a first down in that state championship game in the second half a year ago. And on the night, they don't have many. I think that was their 5th. They might get another one here. Jones dropped by the other 21, Jake Gibbons, the cornerback.
The one great thing that Jenks has, Don, they are 4-time state champions. And once you get something like that going, the kids take so much pride in. They don't want to be the senior class that don't win it. And as we've said before in this game, and this is a great run in there by Kejuan Jones, and Jake Gibbons comes up, takes a little push off, but still is able to hold on to him and get him down. But every senior class wants to do a little bit better than the other one. And even though this game is here, only the 3rd game of the season, there's a long way to go before the state finals.
Bobby Klink looking for room. He's got the first down. Look at him, tightrope. Now they're going to say he was out of bounds. OB for Klink as he drives into Union territory at the 47-yard line. Our Tulsa Sports Web question tonight. All you need to do is get online, www.tulsasportsweb.com. Be a part of the program. There was a leading rusher in the 98 6A state championship game at Lewis Field between the two. Click on, give us your vote, and the correct answers will go into a hopper, and the computer will kick out our winner, and we'll announce the answer to that question later in the show. Klink hasn't had many carries because of the excellence of Kejuan Jones in the early going. And 96, Mike Ryan, the defensive end, makes the tackle. He's their third leading tackler on the team.
Not too often do you see Bobby Klink brought down by one tackler, but that's just a great move in there on the part of Michael Ryan. He was able to keep him right in front of him and wrap him up.
No gain on the play. Fullback is Stuart Lamb. 2 receivers to the left of McCoy. The right of your screen. They stay on the ground. Good hole. Jones bounces inside, still working to the 40, 30. Great move. Another great move. Bye-bye, Kejuan. Touchdown, Trojans. Numbers on McCoy, draw play. Kejuan's been silent, so they give it to him. Look at him move. There he goes. Kejuan Jones, 65 yards. Touchdown, Trojans.
That is definitely all state.
Somebody asked me this week, where do you think Kejuan and Klink and where do you think they'll want to go? My answer was wherever they want to.
Yes, that's they will have choices. There will be a lot of options for those 2 young men.
Timeout on the field, and I think the Trojans now are deciding right now, let's not necessarily go for 1. We need to go for 2 and make it a big-time 2-point conversion to get within 8.
Well, if anyone thought for a minute that this ball game was over when it was 23-7, why, you were wrong, because it's not open. There's a lot of football left here and a lot of fight left in Jenks.
Let's go downstairs to Jack Buns.
Coach Mangino and also assistant coach Mike Stoops are now on the Union sideline, by the way, but I was just talking to Coach Mangino and I said, yeah, you know, Kejuan has been talking about going to the University of Oklahoma. That's certainly one of his options. And he said, yeah, we won't throw the ball as much. We'll run him if he can run like that. I would think so. That was a phenomenal run done simply by the running back.
46-yard scoot by Kejuan. Now they've got to go for 2, and in situations like this, against Union, they have rolled McCoy out and snuck the tight end on the left side and brought him across the field, coming the same way as McCoy has. Let's see what they do here. This is a critical 2-point conversion for the team, for the Jenks Trojans from the 3-yard line. Power left. Now they shift a man and show power right. McCoy looking for room. He gets it away. Oh, just out of the stretching arms of Garrett Mills. So the 2-point conversion fails midway through the 3rd quarter. And the Trojans are right back where they started early in the game, down by 10. We'll come back for the kickoff as the Tulsa Auto Collection continues on Cox Communications. Watch the moves and the strength of Kejuan Jones.
When you watch this, there's no way to describe it. You just have to sit back and enjoy. Great talent right there in breaking tackles, cutting across, utilizing his blockers, getting to the wide side of the field, taking it in for a touchdown. You know, visiting with Coach Spavital, again, the defensive coordinator, he said tackling is so important here when you play Jenks. Well, you can be a great tackler, but it's awful difficult to get a great runner down, even if you are a good tackler. And such strong legs, you see him just jerk loose from them. And when you have those strong legs, you have a great advantage, and Kejuan Jones has it.
You see when he bumped into the offensive lineman, what great balance he had as well. He started at Nathan Hale, rushed for 1,000 yards his sophomore year. In fact, he played Jenks as a sophomore for Nathan Hale. Ramsey Stevens almost broke it. And you can credit Ryan Gotcher with a possible touchdown-saving tackle. 23 yards on the return for number 23, Ramsey Stevens.
You know, that's the 2nd time that Stevens has come close to breaking that loose. And at that time, Gotcher, if he had not got a hold of the jersey, I think he was gone. But there's a lot of potential here by this sophomore. Seems like there's always great athletes coming up on both teams, and we'll hear more about Ramsey Stevens as we go along next year and the next.
Darnell McLaurin was also in the neighborhood. 1st and 10 at the 30.
Dawson has had a pretty good game. Trinity Dawson, who played behind Jason York, who was a 1,500-yard rusher a year ago. 25 touchdowns. He had over 100 yards against Broken Arrow last week. He's got 66 in this affair.
Trinity's going to average 100 yards a game almost every game. He will get it because they give their running back the football. Union does that much.
Gooch against the wind in this quarter. He's 4 of 7 in the game. They blitz, they pitch, and a great open field tackle by Jason Carter. The 5'11", 175-pound junior came up to make the stick, and he's a little banged up after that tackle.
He took a little punishment for it. Here's just a nice little quick pitch out to Trinity Dawson, and I tell you what, he will punish you if you go on him one-on-one. We're seeing some good running backs tonight.
No gain, 3rd down and 7, and the Jenks defense has their fans on their feet wanting a big-time stop. Trailing by 10. Instead, Gooch fires on the slant. It's a 1st down and more. Inside Jenks territory goes Jonathan Chisholm. Well, it has been interesting, Coach. The players like Gooch and Janae and others that hit center stage, but Jonathan Chisholm is now right up there with them with some big plays in the game.
He's made some great plays, Don, and he comes off of the top of the screen. A wide receiver cuts that slant pattern across the middle, and Tyler Gooch just delivers it right on the button.
However, a penalty against Union, and the 20-yard play is going to be called back. That was a concern. Let's see what the call is.
Penalty is a chop block against the offense. Half the distance to the goal, remains 3rd down.
Come here, let's go again.
So a critical penalty against the Union Redskins. Again, we haven't had a turnover in this game yet, have we?
We really hadn't. We've had some fumbles and mishandled balls, but they still pretty tough up at the top of the screen to see the chop block that came in there in the zone on the line of scrimmage.
And remember, that was a 3rd down play, so it's 3rd and a long ways. They got to get to the 40. They throw it deep. Oh, my goodness! That's a 1st down for the Redskins. That's a 27-yard play and a 1st down. I think it was J.J. Sheffield who made the catch. Check it out.
Well, you always want to keep your eye on the football when it is meant for you, but if the defense can deflect it, you got to be ready. I believe that Don was Bryce Flynn in there.
Sure was. And now a penalty, I think, against Jenks. So Bryce Flynn makes a name for himself here in the Jenks Union battle with 4:16 to go in the 3rd.
A dead ball, encroachment against the defense, still 1st down.
I'm not sure who it was on that previous play that tipped it, but they had the interception and then had some room in front of them. Instead, it's deflected into the arms of Flynn, and a 27-yard play when they needed 24 for a 1st down. Now they get 1st and 5 near midfield at their own 48. This is where Gooch would love to throw it deep to Janae, I bet, and try to put some more on the board. Instead, they run it. And McElwain tries to get to the outside. He's got speed, and he showed it right there. He'll be close to the 1st down marker, and that was nothing but great speed by Spencer McElwain, who came in the state playoffs last year as a freshman.
And McElwain here, he'll just stretch it out. There's no way he can come up. He fights loose from a potential tackler there, misses one on the ankle, was able to get a couple of yards.
He had a game against Ponca City last year, 123 yards rushing, and carried the ball 13 straight times in that game in Ponca City last year.
Well, he does an excellent job of resting Trinity Dawson in there, and we'll see him when he comes back. Well, he'll be fresh, and both of these coaching staffs, they do such a great job of utilizing their talents and getting people in and out. But you know that as a result of this game, only the third game of the season, you can expect a lot of the errors, especially in a game such as this that's so hard fought and so evenly matched. But you'll see improvement come down the line from both these ball clubs.
They are inches short after the run by McIlvain. They are in Jenks territory at the Jenks 47-yard line. Redskins have led throughout this game. They scored the first time they had the ball when Gooch, the quarterback there, threw the 24 yards Janae in the end zone. They made it 7-0. They got a field goal from Jake Gibbons to make it 10-0. Then Jenks had a big drive late in the second quarter to pull to within 10-7 at halftime. The first time Union got the ball in the second half, they drove 74 yards. It was Gooch hitting Chisholm on the rollout from 23 yards out. That's what happened a year ago. Overtime. And then Gooch got another touchdown on a 1-yard plunge. So Tyler Gooch has thrown for 2. He's run for 1. And he falls back on the loose football.
Looks like we had an error on the exchange from the center to the quarterback, but Gooch very alertly covers the football.
However, they'll move the chains after that mistake. He still gets a first down out of it. So a gain of a yard, if you will, and that sets up 1st and 10 at the Jenks 46-yard line. Still in the third quarter with 3:50 left, so plenty of time for Union to score more and pound it on Jenks even further, or Jenks to come back.
Back up, 72, back up, yep.
Jenks so dangerous, or rather Gooch so dangerous on the rollout, and there's Jerome Janae tonight.
And again, a nice little sideline route in there by Janae. He takes the defensive back, he pushes him inside, and on the rollout, why, you know who Tyler Gooch is looking for, and he catches him perfectly. Jerome Janae able to keep his feet in bounds, just has to have the 1 foot, and he had it in there.
Travis Hicks was there to make sure he didn't go any further, and there's the look at Janae's numbers. This young man's the best player, JB, at taking over a game I've seen since R.W. McQuarters.
He's a game breaker.
Nice pitch. McIlvain can't get any room, and Bobby Klink comes up and shows you why he's being highly recruited from his strong safety position.
You know, when that play first started to develop, it looked like McIlvain was going to be able to break free, but Bobby Klink has got more speed than you might think. 190-pounder, but he was quick coming out of his linebacking position, and no way, going right for the legs.
Loss of a couple on the last play. Gooch under pressure, unloads it a little too far for Janae, and we've got a flag down, downfield. So we'll see what this is about. And the Union fans think it's probably, they think it's pass interference or holding.
Well, from the position the flag was thrown, you would think it would be pass interference, but always remember it could be offensive as well.
They're stepping off 15. It's pass interference against the Trojans, and they move the chains again.
Pass interference on the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty and automatic first down.
That moves it down to the 21-yard line.
Well, Jerome Janae's got so much speed. If he gets close to you, it's just awful hard sometimes maybe not to put your hands on him. And just before we picked him up right there, you saw the flag come in. Why the interference occurred by Travis Hicks.
8th penalty of the night against Jenks. McIlvain up the middle. And he'll wiggle forward for about 3 or 4 yards. Cedric Moore, the defensive tackle, in place of the injured Brett Sharp, makes the tackle. Brett Sharp is out with a sprained foot and will probably be back in a week or two for Alan Trimble on that defensive front.
The clock can't tick fast enough for Bill Blankenship, can it?
Well, you'll certainly see him trying to utilize the clock management in the fourth quarter.
Great fake, and Gooch shows his ability down to the 5-yard line. Big time play by the senior quarterback. Travis Hicks came up to make sure he didn't get in the end zone. It's 1st and goal. Beautifully executed.
Yes, nice fake like it was going inside. Counters back on the keeper to the near side of the football field, and again, he's a winner, he's a leader.
Five first downs on this drive. Down to the Jinx 4. 1st and goal. There's Hicks, who made the tackle after the 13-yard run. Gooch again. He wants another touchdown.
Looked like he's going to make the pitch, but also looked like that had he not had extremely strong hands, one of the Jinx players knifed through there and almost took the ball away from him, but he was able to hold on to it. He's strong arm, strong hands. We'll see it right here. Take a swipe at it, but he couldn't quite get it out of his arms.
A lot of white shirts were there. Brandon Lohr, 98. Ben Barber, number 8. 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Minute and a half to go, 3rd quarter. Union knocking on touchdown door, and they are denied on 2nd and goal. And Jay Henry, the middle linebacker, along with 98 Lohr, make the stop. No gain at best.
That's a good stand in there by the Trojans. Mike Holmes, also number 24, in on it. Just good swarm tackling it. No gain.
This is very important for the Trojans to try to hold Union here and make them settle for 3 points. Because then you're still 2 touchdowns away. You're 2 scores away from taking the lead or tying the game. Gooch, great pitch. Great fake on the pitch by Gooch. Touchdown Union. It is the Tyler Gooch Show at Skelly Stadium. Now they've got to go for 1 here to make it a 3-score game for the Trojans going into the 4th quarter. This is a very important point after. And Gibbons hits the upright and gets it to go through. So with 45 seconds to go, 3rd quarter, the Union Redskins are on their feet. And Tyler Gooch, 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown runs, and this was a magnificent fake.
This is a great fake. You just know he's going to pitch, and he brings it right back and goes into the end zone. You know, Keith Burns, University of Tulsa coach, has been talking about the option play going to Rice, and they've been practicing without the football. Says he has a defensive player that's going to take the quarterback, one takes the pitch man, and one takes the fullback. So he's going to cover all 3 of them, and that may not be a bad philosophy, but that was just a tremendous fake in there by Tyler Gooch, and he's able to pick up another touchdown.
This Jinx team, they're down by 17. Well, you'd have to go back into the books to find out when they were down by 17 the last time. It's been a long time. Some of the young ladies that performed at halftime, you can perform on this broadcast as well. Just go to our link, TulsaSportsWeb.com, and you still have the 4th quarter to answer our question. Who was the leading rusher in the 6A state championship 2 years ago at Lewis Field between Jinx and Union? Bobby Klink, Ben Bowling, Danny Morris, or Tyler Gooch? That's how you do it. www.tulsasportsweb.com. You can also click on the high school page, and I will preview each week the prep game that J.B. Haney, Jack Buns, and I have the pleasure of doing each Thursday night statewide on Cox Communications. ...30-13 Union.
I don't think anyone felt that going into the fourth quarter there would be this type of a lead by either team in this game tonight.
Short kick taken at the 17-yard line by Hirschberg. Boys fighting to the 25 and up to the 26-yard line.
Good coverage in there, and as you might expect, Josh Dupree, number 44, right down the field on him.
So Jenks has some work to do here in the final 39 seconds of this quarter. So the final 12 minutes and 39 seconds of the game, Alan Trimble tries to cook up some offense.
I think you have to point out that Alan Trimble this year has almost a complete new staff, and it takes a staff a while to really get accustomed. There you see Scott McCoy's numbers for the night.
He really didn't get his staff solidified until August. Oh, what a catch that was! And Carter comes up with a big-time play on the connection from McCoy. And the Trojans move the chains way down the field.
We've seen number 1 make a lot of catches tonight. Jason Carter, Jerome Janae. Now this is a nice pass in there by Scott McCoy. He lays it out there just perfect right over his shoulder. That wasn't bad defense at all by Jerome Janae. Just a great offensive play.
9th first down of the night for the Trojans after the 39-yard pass play, and they are indeed cooking at the Union 35-yard line with the wind at their back. They'd probably like to knock it in if they could before this third quarter comes to a close, although now it melts down, as you see, to the final 15 seconds. Great hole. Klink, good move. 20, 10, 5. The Trojans are back on the board. And Klink comes up. Let's hope it's just a cramp. A 35-yard TD run by the senior Bobby Klink. He too a 1,000-yard rusher like Kejuan Jones in his 2 previous high school seasons.
That's great offensive plays and great tradition by Jenks. Don, you might think they would have a letdown. They don't have a letdown, and they strike right back, and we still have an exciting 12-minute fourth quarter to go here.
Tyler Wilkie to try the extra point from the hold of Mike Holmes. 7 seconds left in the third period, and they indeed put points on the board before we are done with the third quarter. Well, early in the second quarter, it was 10-0, and that's where we are, back to a 10-point game on this 35-yard scoot by Klink.
What a great cut that was by Klink, and then look right here. He just fakes the tackler right out, going right at him, cutting back to the right, and goes on in, pulls a little calf muscle right in there about that point. You see him go grab his leg, but the competitor he is, he will be back. Oh, that hurts. Here we see another. Now, is that not a great cut? And again, right here, great cut. A little stutter step and cut to his right and just absolutely leave the defender.
He really set up another great player right here on this move, Zach Spavital, one of the best safeties in the business.
Yes.
Bang, right there.
And I don't call that bad defense. That's just one heck of a great run in there.
Spavital was where he was supposed to be. Well, there have been occasions when Jenks would onside kick right here in the Ron Lancaster days. We saw a little riverboat gambling with Keith Burns last week here on this turf with the TU-OSU game in a similar situation. See what happens here. Ramsey Stevens has been dangerous on the kickoff returns tonight. He's almost busted a couple of them. 7 seconds left, third quarter. Stevens at the 15 has a hole to the 27-yard line. Kejuan Jones apparently on the tackle. We'll go to a break. That's the end of the third quarter. It is Union 30 and Jenks 20. Friday night, Cox Communications continues our outstanding prep football coverage. The Westmore Jaguars take on Dell City. Boy, the Dell City team, great run last week by quarterback Paul Duran, 226 yards rushing.
in Dell City's win over their opponent, Norman North. We'll see who wins that one. Friday night, Mick Cornett and company from Oklahoma City on Channel 3, here in Tulsa on Channel 9. If you've missed any part of this game, you can certainly check out Cox Channel 3 or Tulsa's Channel 9 for replays of both games throughout the weekend. Don King, J.B. Haney, Jack Buns with you on the field. We start the fourth quarter. Union starts with a 10-point lead at their own 27-yard line. And it's been the Tyler Gooch show to this point. 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown runs. And there's a look at his passing numbers. With the wind at his back, he goes on the flare to Dawson. 40, 50. Still kept his balance for an extra 5 or 6 yards. And they are on the move again.
Going into the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead, you really might think that Coach Blankenship would change his offense. He will go with what got him the 30 points. And I don't think you'll see him trying to just definitely get ticks off the clock, but this is just a great run in here by Trinity Dawson, getting great field position here in the early fourth quarter for the Redskins.
26-yard connection from Gooch to Dawson, who's racking up impressive numbers tonight. Look at Ben Barber from the secondary. Gooch from the gun. Not much there. A couple at best.
Did you think that we would have this much offense tonight, Don?
I wasn't sure, and both coaches weren't quite sure. You know, there have been games when we think it'd be offensive, it's been defensive struggles, and then vice versa. So you really never know. Last year's state championship game was 14-7 after 1, and it stayed that way. I mean, you would have thought it would have been an offensive game in that particular contest, but wasn't after the first quarter.
I really felt after watching tapes on both of the teams, Don, that 21 points would probably win the game, and it would be like 21 maybe to 20, 21-14, but this has really surprised me.
Alan Trimble, who has done a lot of work in the Jenks area with Special Olympics. In fact, he was named by USA Weekend Magazine as one of the 10 most caring coaches in the country. And there's Bill Blankenship, who likewise does a lot in the Union community with his players. These two teams, could they meet again for the 3rd straight year for the 6A state championship? Cox Communications will take you there exclusively in the Tulsa, Oklahoma City statewide markets for the 5A, 6A state championship games. It's been a Tulsa affair the last couple of years. Let's go down to Jack.
Like you were saying, it's a surprise the offenses are playing so well. Kind of lets you know how good the offenses are and how good the coaches are, because keep in mind, Clovis, California couldn't score on Union, and Fort Smith's North Side, #1 in Arkansas and defending state champions, they couldn't do anything against Jenks.
The Trojans are #1 in the state, #2 in the country according to Fox Fab 50, Fox Sports, #10 ranked by USA Today. Union is #25 in the country according to Fox Sports. And the clock gets down to 10:45 as Derek Crisip makes the stop, number 72 there. Crisip is synonymous with Jenks football. He's had 2 older brothers that played. 6'2", 255-pound senior. No gain on the play. It's 3rd and 10 from the Jenks 47-yard line. Big play for the Jenks defense. A big play for the Union Redskin offense. And
looks like we had a timeout by the officials down there. Someone's not.
Someone's not quite ready. Last year, Jenks as a school, JV, had 11 state championships in their academic year. That's the most by any school in one particular academic year. 11 state championships. They did it not only in football, they did it in baseball, girls basketball that you saw on Cox last spring. Another flare, Dawson, another great move, another great example of balance. And it took Crisip from his defensive tackle position to come downfield to make the tackle. And on a 3rd and 10, the Redskins move the chains again. 16-yard pass play.
This has really been a good play for the Redskins all night. Just that little flare pass, the running back flares out to his right in the flat, gets the football, gets around the end, and then the rest of it is just great athletic ability in there by Trinity Dawson picking up a first down.
10:03, now 10 minutes to go as the clock starts moving again after they've moved the chains. Look at the first downs tonight. That offensive line for Union is doing some job now. They are starting to take control a bit of the game at the 9:45 mark, JV. And again, it is an offensive line that doesn't have many stars for Union. None really coming back that had much experience at all. Seniors on the line, but none of them with much experience. They've done a nice job.
They really have, Don, and keep in mind at the half when the score was 10-7, the Jenks offense passing and rushing was leading. So this has been a great third quarter for the Redskins offense.
Again, the option pitch. McIlvain, nowhere to go. Carter tackles him. Loose football. There were white shirts there. Let's see if they rule it down. They might have ruled McIlvain down back at the 42. No, they don't. The Trojans have the first turnover of the game with 9:07 to go.
You always have to remember, when you're a four-time state champion, you are never out of a football game. Here we'll see if he was down. Nope, the ball came out of there before he went down. That's a good call by the officials and very alert play by the defensive team for Jenks.
Jared Bowling is the guy that reached his hand in as McIlvain was falling to the deck. And I think it was that man, Crisp, that recovered. First down from the 22, and McCoy with the bubble screen. Carter dropped it the last time. He's in the open and gets close to the first down marker. Now keep in mind, the last two times the Trojans have had the ball, they have scored in quick bursts. Jones a 46-yard run for a touchdown, and Klink a 35-yard run. And that young man, Jason Carter, may be faster than any of them.
Michael Ryan comes up, makes a great tackle right here. You see, just really kept his head up, put that face man right in his chest, wrapped his arms, and wrapped him up.
McCoy going upstairs again over the middle. It's caught by Mills. He's dropped a couple tonight. This time he comes up with a huge play with 8.5 to go in the game. Now they're talking. Wait a minute. The referee is talking to one of the officials in the offensive backfield of the Trojans. There is apparently a flag down.
Flag down on the far side of the field, the line of scrimmage.
Wow. That pass play wipes out a that penalty wipes out a 34-yard pass play. And the Trojans have shot themselves in the foot again.
Illegal motion against the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. We'll repeat, second down.
That certainly was a big error on the part of Jenks, Don, because they were in excellent field position and plenty of time left on the clock.
Second down, about 7. There's a look at the penalties. You can see why Coach Trimble would be a little disappointed or frustrated. Carter couldn't slip through the tackle. Nice job by 96 Mike Ryan, a senior who has waited in the footsteps of others and finally getting his playing time as he tackles Carter from behind at the 45. They'll move the chains. That's a first down.
You know, on the penalty that they just called back, it was Michael Ryan who came back and made that tackle. And he's coming out of his defensive line position to make a great tackle right there, defensive end. Players being affected a little bit with cramps, and I can understand why. It's not that hot, but they're playing that hard.
Are these two teams fun to watch or what?
They are fun to watch, and this is high school football at its best. You have to respect the Trojans. It looked like for a moment they were out of it, but they are not out of it, and we've got down 7 minutes and 41 seconds remaining, and who can tell what's going to happen, how many more scores we may have tonight.
A very important extra point kick to pull to within 3. This is as close as they have been all night. And Wilkie's extra point floats through the uprights. A break in the action. We'll let you catch your breath. Stay tuned. 7:41 left. And Kejuan Jones steps center stage. Watch the offensive line for the Trojans. All he needs is just a little opening. Bang, right there. Goodbye.
And again, you know, we talked about this before. You can't arm tackle Kejuan Jones. You may get an arm on him, but you're not going to bring him down. And once he got by those couple attempted tackles where an arm was placed on him, then he is gone. A good fake pass, kind of drawing people apart. Great move right there.
Watch Janae, the fastest guy in the state maybe, and he can't catch him.
Well, we talked about this last week. There's practice speed and game speed. Some great game speed.
Let's go down to Jack.
You know, we hype this as not only the best game in the state, but the best game in the entire country. 35,000 some odd people up on their feet screaming. I think it's lived up to its hype. Man, these guys are playing the best high school football I think we've ever seen.
Well, we say that every time they play, don't we? Short kick, and wisely fielded on at the 26-yard line. Now, you know the beauty of doing these games of the week on Cox Communications, as we have done in the Tulsa market now for 13 years, is that we have no partiality for either school. We just, our goal is to just hope that we go into the fourth quarter and it's still a game. Well, 11 of the past 14 games we've televised between the two schools, we've had just that. You go into the fourth quarter with the game in the balance. 11 of the last 14 between the two schools, and here we are again. 30-27 Union. They have a 3-point lead. There you see the clock from their own 26. The defense is playing with their heads up a little bit now, aren't they?
They really are. Jenks has the momentum going their way, and this is always where you look to see if the other team can come right back. And Jenks has done that tonight. They've been able to maintain that momentum, and this is a very important series. If they hold, then that momentum will just increase with the next possession offensively for Jenks.
Touchdown runs the last 3 times Jenks had the ball. 46 yards by Jones. Klink 35 yards for a strike. Jones 65 yards to pull the Trojans to within 3. Gooch has been brilliant tonight. That time he couldn't find any room, and guess who? Brian Pickrell, who was in the face of Gooch throughout the first half, finally shows himself in the fourth quarter.
There's been a lot of mistakes made in this ball game by both teams, but I'll guarantee you that Pickrell is going to have a fun day tomorrow when they view the film, as several others are. Great chase, great speed in there by the junior.
3rd and 16 from the 20. I'm trying to figure out how this game will go into overtime as it did a year ago.
I don't think that's going to happen.
We're midway through the fourth quarter. Gooch on 3rd and 16 needs a big play. Got it. Is it enough for the first down? He's going to be about a couple of, probably 2 yards shy, as J.J. Sheffield had to come back for the catch.
Well, that wasn't a first down, Don, but they at least got out of a hole. They've got the wind to their back, and if they elect to punt, which I'm sure they will, they can come out and, you know, pin the Trojans back at least 70 yards or more from the goal line. This is a great rollout pass, throwing on the run. Sheffield coming back, and a lot of players don't do that, Don, but if you notice, Sheffield made his turn, and then he's coming back to the ball so that he'll prevent that defensive person from getting in front of him.
Spavital's second punt of the night, and this is a dandy. Look at that roll. Klink had to let it go, and it's down at the 20. So when we come back after that 47-yard punt,
5:55, triple nickels on the board, and Alan Trimble tries to conjure something up with the offense. Let's see what he can do with Kejuan Jones or Bobby Klink, or maybe both in the backfield. Scott McCoy at the controls, his older brother now at OU. JB, when you look at the players these two programs have produced that are playing for TU, OSU, and OU, boy, you can go down the line. Corey Klein from Union playing right next to Corey Cowlins from Jenks on the OU defensive line right now. Rocky Kalmus, the linebacker. Matt McCoy, another that's playing for OU. Ben Bowling at OSU. Several now on the TU roster.
And his brother Scott quarterbacking, passed for 100 yards tonight.
Jones gets stopped by Dupree. Even with the cast on his thumb, he was able to bring Jones down.
When these two teams play Don, it just seems like regardless of the score, every series is so big. And this one is so big for the Union defense. If they can't hold and let Jenks get a little roll here with this offensive series, then the game can just slip away from them very quickly.
Jenks has never been this close in the game. Great defensive work in the middle. 73 making the play. Brandon Naylor, he's getting quite a bit of work. That nose tackle position between he and 58 Pete Knapp.
Third game of the season, and what a big third down this is so early. What excitement.
Third down and a short 5 from the 25 for the Trojans. Holmes in motion. Play action. Look for the tight end. Instead, it is Carter, and he picks up the first down up at the 36-yard line. Nice pass by the quarterback, McCoy.
Just a nice rollout right there to his left, and you'll see the receiver coming across. Nice catch in there by Garrett Mills, number 11.
I beg your pardon. Thank you. Yeah, Garrett Mills, 11 instead of 1. A gain of 11. That moved the chains up to the 36-yard line. 4.5 to go in the game. Nowhere to go. They held their ground that time. Look at the black shirts. A nice job of helping him up. 44 Dupree. What a warrior he is.
When you get in situations like this, Don, where the momentum just slips away from you like it did with Union and Jenks just takes over, that's when you really appeal to your players that you have to step up. We've got to have some person step up, take the lead, and change that momentum. And at the same time, on the other side, they're telling the same thing. You keep that momentum. Don't let it get away from you.
That's a catch. Jones almost got loose. He's a yard shy of the first down and sets up a very important 3rd down and 1. You think they wouldn't like to have Luke Turner back right now after he graduated? He was brilliant in these type of situations, on 3rd and short situations.
Kejuan Jones, you just have to approach him in the open field with caution.
They're going to mark it at the 44. It's going to be 3rd and 2.
Kejuan getting a little cold water on himself on the sideline.
Lamb the fullback, Klink the tailback. This is Bobby Klink, and he slipped down. He gets back to the line of scrimmage. No, actually, he loses a yard. It's going to be 4th and 3 with 2:53 to go in the game, and the clock is ticking.
And I think you know what they're going to do. Looked like he might have hung his foot there just a little bit.
Might remember this. In overtime last year, he did the same thing when he would look like he was going for a touchdown in overtime and slipped and fell. And Jenks had to settle for a field goal, and Union came back with a touchdown to win it. 27-24. It's a 3-point game now. 4th and 3 from the 43. He's wide open. Not only does he get the first down, Mills is wide open and finally brought down at the 40-yard line. Garrett Mills starting to make some big-time catches. His folks are very big in the Booster Club and in the Board of Education in the Jenks system.
That was a great call by Alan Trimble and his staff right then. I don't think anyone thought that they were going in the air, and Mills out there just wide open by himself.
13-yard pass play on 4th down.
Great pursuit in there by the defense to hold him even more yardage.
Just inside the 45, McCoy going deep. He's got it inside the 15-yard line. Eric Lindemann. Talk about seniors waiting for their moment to shine. Eric Lindemann has dreamed of this moment, and he's got the Trojans knocking on the door with 2:06 remaining.
Give a lot of credit right here to Scott McCoy, because we talk about the leadership, we talk about the quarterbacks, and this has been a great matchup, and Scott McCoy is just not going to take no for an answer. He's going to drive those Trojans down the field.
Steve Spavital urging the defense to make the big play. Keep your heads up.
Well, you talked about overtime, Don. They're down into the area where they're going to have a shot at it if the defense is able to stop them.
Let's go down to Jack.
You know, it's a perfect time for a timeout for Union. Jenks certainly believing in themselves at the moment. They think they're going to go score. Union kind of calm down the troops a little bit. And you talk about a great offense. Look at Jenks, 413 yards of total offense right now, doing a tremendous job, but they got to get that last 13, 15 or so.
Remember when Scott McCoy, Jack, was 1 for his last 7 at one point. He's now 7 of his last 7 for 120 yards. He's thrown 7 consecutive completions in this 4th quarter. 2:06 to go. First down at the Union 13. I think we were here before last year, weren't we?
I was just thinking, are we in a time warp? Have we been down through this road before?
Kejuan dancing to the 10. Oh, he's got room. Touchdown Trojans. And they have the lead for the first time tonight. What did we say a few minutes ago? I cannot ever remember the Trojans being behind by 17 points, maybe through the 90s. It didn't last long, did it?
It really didn't.
If you 2 minutes to go in the game. Well, don't think this one's over yet, because we've seen Tyler Gooch bring his team back. Kejuan's touchdown is 4th of the night. Three touchdowns in the 4th quarter by the Trojans have given them the lead for the first time tonight. You know, 51 years ago, Jenks and Union met on a football field for the first time. 1949, the first time these two met. I wonder if it was anything like this.
Well, I know one thing, there wasn't this many people watching it, Don. That's for sure.
A state record, 31,555, the largest crowd to ever watch a regular season football game in the Center State. They've gotten their money's worth. It was a defensive standstill in the first half with only 17 points. Here in the second half, 47 points. We're not done yet. To the 35-yard line. Ramsey Stevens, he has been so close tonight of breaking one.
You know, you couldn't help but think that that just might happen the way this game has gone. Hold on. 1 minute and 56 seconds, anything can happen.
Great field position for the Skins at the 35-yard line. The wind has died now to nothing. So Tyler Gooch and the Redskins have no wind to their back. And that touchdown pretty much wipes out the overtime, I'd say, wouldn't you?
Yes, it would.
Out of the gun, they run it. Dawson fighting for everything he can get his hands on. Jared Bowling makes the stop, tries to wrestle the ball away. Dawson picks up about 5. Bowling has worn 43 in years past. He's wearing a new number, and this is his first game of the season at number 7. Let's take a look.
Number 7, Jared Bowling, you see the trip coming right there. They are wrestling for that ball. but there's no way they're going to get away from Trinity.
Oh
Dawson.
my, Bowling again. Reaches out, and Dawson had a great lane right there. He picks up 6, first down Union.
You think they might be setting up the deep throw to Jerome Janae with the 2 runs inside?
I think you're probably right there, Coach. Minute 23. This has been fun. Intended for Sheffield. That stops the clock with 1:17. You just keep hoping that they answer, that they continue to meet the hype, the expectations, and somehow these two schools continue to do it.
You know, every time you see them play, you think that this is one of the greatest games you've ever seen, and it is until you see them play again.
Well, if Jenks holds on, Alan Trimble will be shaking his head. He won't believe that they've won, I think. But it's not over, and this is the reason why with Tyler Gooch. Is he fun to watch? Out of bounds at the 47-yard line. He's about 3 yards shy of the first down and 1:13 remaining. And for that young man, that's pretty much an eternity.
We as fans, though, Don, we'll see it again this year. That's a great play in there by Tyler Gooch. And very smart, very alert. Get out of bounds, stop that clock.
Third down and 3.
Union has 2 timeouts remaining that they'll be able to utilize in this last minute.
Interesting to see what they do here. I don't see Janae. Yeah, there he is, and he has it, and he's down. He does have the first down. They'll move the chains. That's all they wanted, was to get Janae to the first down.
And moving the chain stops the clock with 1:08 left, and you'll see them up on the line, and they'll get this play started very quickly as soon as the official starts the clock.
Janae with 4 grabs tonight. Hicks on the coverage. They bring Janae out. Fake the run. Look out. Brandon Lohr, who has an older brother playing at Nebraska, and Brandon's on his way to a major college when he gets done. Big time sack by the Trojan defensive end.
You know, that was a real good fake in there to Trinity Dawson. It looked like he may have taken the ball. He went on through and carried out his fake, but no way that he could get away from big Brandon Lohr in the backfield.
That sets up 2nd and long, and Union has to burn one of their 2 timeouts. Here's our www.tulsasportsweb.com trivia question again. Who was the leading rusher in the 98 6A state championship? It was the Jenks quarterback, Ben Bowling. I don't think I've seen a greater performance. 173 yards rushing, 172 passing, and Chris Mayfield, you are the winner. Congratulations to Chris Mayfield. He'll win a gift certificate from TulsaSportsWeb.com. After the sack, 2nd and 18 from midfield. Screen, this has worked well. Dawson can get out of bounds, or does he need to get out of bounds? He does at the 20-yard line. Holy cow! They have worked that play to perfection. And Trinity Dawson shows you why he is making a name for himself on this great night.
And just like Kejuan Jones for Jenks, you have to square up with him. You just can't arm tackle him at all.
Injured Jenks player on the sidelines. That was a big-time play, was it not?
That was a must play, Don.
That was.
That particular play, they had to make some yardage, and they're still a long 19.5 yards away, but I wouldn't discount anything in a game between Jenks and Union.
Not only is your #1 state ranking on the line for Jenks, your #2 national ranking on the line. And for the Redskins, they're ranked nationally 25. They'd love to win this game and move up.
And I thought Benny Dixon was very accurate when you're talking about national rankings. That brings recognition to your school, to your student body, and people across the nations read that and they know about it.
Timeout on the field. There's 42 seconds left. When we come back, Union has the ball at the Jenks 20. If you tuned away for a little bit and then came back, that is not a misprint. 34-30 Jenks, but Union has driven in the final 2 minutes of this game to the 20-yard line. Gooch complete. Janae incomplete now, and that was probably a good thing. Stops the clock with 36 seconds left.
Yeah, that is one thing you really want to do in this situation. You want to try to go the down and out patterns. You don't want to do the crossover, although Union has one timeout remaining, but you really would like to save that. There you got a good look.
Well, they go
definitely incomplete.
Down and out. Will they go in the end zone here on second down? What will Tyler Gooch elect to do with Dawson in the backfield? Oh, he's going to run it. He's dangerous. He punts to the outside, down to the 13-yard line. Not enough to move the chains, and the Redskins have to burn their final timeout. A gain of 7.
Tyler Gooch is dangerous in this situation, and you might question whether or not he should run, but if it opens, you got to go.
Let's go down to you, Jack.
That injury and the timeout now really helps out Jenks a little bit more. Obviously, their defense very, very fatigued at this moment. So the long injury timeout, then the timeout from Union, their final of the game, kind of helps them out. If you'll also notice the last 2 plays, Jenks has changed their defense. Only one linebacker in there. They have a nickel defense. Now if they're inside the 10, it'll be interesting to see if they switch up back to their normal defense or not.
This will be the 10th play of the drive.
And I don't believe they'll switch it, Jack, for the simple reason that they've got to be going into the end zone now with no timeouts left.
Now on third down, they certainly want to get a first down. I'm thinking maybe a down and out inside the 5. We'll see. 3 receivers left for Gooch. Dawson in the backfield. Janae's at the bottom of your screen by himself. 3rd and 3 from the Jenks 13. 10th play of the drive. Gooch has thrown for 2 touchdowns. He's run for 2. He's looking. He's got a man. Touchdown Union. Janae has got it. You can tell by the crowd it is good. 21 seconds to match Gibbons' number after he boots the extra point. And is that young man a player? Is he a competitor or what? 3 touchdown passes tonight. He did it, folks, in 1 minute and 39 seconds. He did it in 10 plays, and he marched him 65 yards.
There you get a good look at Tyler Gooch, and we talk about he and Scott McCoy, both winners, both great leaders, and he certainly took his team down. You talked earlier, Don, about overtime. 3 points, 21 seconds. Jenks has 1 timeout. Could they get down for a shot? I wouldn't discount anything when these 2 teams meet until the horn goes off and they've really decided the issue.
Again, for the 12th time in the last 15 meetings between the schools, it's gone to the wire. Alan Trimble feels like I do right now. He's worn out.
There you see Tyler Gooch. He looks to the left.
Now,
he's got Jerome Janae coming across in the end zone, and he was wide open right there. Great patience in there.
Good protection. You see Gooch feel it a bit there.
And
he's so mobile.
And he's real patient. He's waiting for them to open up. And Jerome Janae, with his quickness, he was able to get along that backside, come right back into the open gap, and get the go-ahead touchdown.
Jerome Janae didn't even really come out for football until the 7th grade in the Union system. And now he is being recruited throughout the country, and you can see why right there. Well, here's the kickoff. and it's into the end zone. And that's probably a good thing for Jenks, JB. They've got a timeout left.
They have one timeout left, 80 yards to go. 50 yards to get down within field goal range. That north wind, they're going against it, but it's not blowing nearly what it was a few minutes ago, so you know that they've got that in the back of their mind and playbook.
31,555 have gotten their money's worth again as you take a look at the timeout situation. Jenks has 80 yards, but all they're looking is for 3 right here. They want to at least get to midfield in the next couple of plays. Because they have a chance, and with that guy, you always have a chance. Jones to the 50. Somebody better catch him. I don't believe what I've just seen. I do not believe what has just happened. I do not believe what has just happened at Skelly Stadium with 8 seconds remaining on the clock. Well, there's 8 seconds left. What's Union going to do?
Ripley wouldn't believe what we've seen here tonight in Skelly Stadium. You can believe anything could happen in the last 8 seconds.
Tyler Wilkie now puts it to a 4-point game, and so Union to win's got to score 6. Let's take a look at how Kejuan Jones set this up. Great work, guys, on the ground.
You see him come out, and he's going to make a little curl pattern right back into the middle, and Matt McCoy finds him. Then he picks up the great blocks coming from the near side. And once again, no arm tackling on Kejuan Jones, and he's got the speed. Pay dirt.
Well, for the first time in 3 years, a Union undefeated season is in jeopardy. Keep in mind that if it had not been for the 2 regular season or the 2 state championship losses to Jenks, Union would have won 30 in a row. They had gone undefeated, 13-0 the previous 2 seasons to get to the state championship. JB, my goodness, you feel for whoever loses this game. I mean,
well, don't you think
everybody's on their feet? Union side is standing, the Jenks side is standing. I mean, that's all you ask for when you come to a high school football game, is to get your $4 worth, in this case a little bit more. And I think we have it around the state. And if you're watching throughout the state, how could you not want these 2 teams to meet again for the state championship?
That's true. You think they may do an onside kick here just to prevent any kind of a return?
No, I think they got to squib it down the middle. I'm afraid that if I'm a Jenks fan, I would be afraid to give Tyler Gooch any kind of room at all from 50 yards out. Nice high bounce. They're going to try the old Stanford lateral. There's one, and that's it. I don't know that I've ever described a football game as a 15-round, old-fashioned heavyweight boxing match, but this was it. How about 68 points, 800 yards in total offense. Kejuan Jones with 5 touchdowns. 305 yards in offense for him alone. A lot of respect with regard to these 2 coaches and these 2 programs. And as they have done the last 2 years in the regular season meeting, there's a lot of them saying right now, we'll see you in December.
Well, you know, that's what Jenks has said the last 2 years when they lost this, Don, that we'll win the state championship. So I'm sure that this has to be going through the Union players' mind, that they would want to do the same thing that Jenks has done the last 2 years.
Let's go down to our partner, Jack Buns.
They're the players of the game right there. Tyler Gooch for Union, Kejuan Jones for Jenks. Kejuan, I don't know if we've ever seen high school football like this before. Unbelievable final play for you.
Oh, I could not believe it. I didn't know what to do. I just caught the ball and just ran with it.
It looked like to me it was kind of, you got to the corner, it was kind of like, please God, give me another gear, because I don't know if I have any energy.
Yeah, I mean, I just came across the middle, and when I saw that block, I just went outside of it, and I just kept going.
Have you ever experienced anything like this or ever dreamed there'd be a game like this?
I've never done this ever in my life. This is the greatest feeling in my life besides the state championship game.
I know that the players, Jenks and Union, respected themselves, respect for each other tremendously beforehand. You think there's even more respect mutually now?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of respect. I mean, like I said, we know we're both good, and we just go out and try to play our hardest, and it was just a great game from top to finish.
Well, congratulations. I have a feeling you might see these guys again.
Oh, yeah, we'll see them again. We know we will.
All right, thank you very much. Congratulations. Kejuan Jones, no question, the player of the game.
Well, not to correct Kejuan, but as a sophomore, he scored 5 touchdowns in a game when he was at Nathan Hale against Rogers, but he's never done it in front of 31,555 as Bobby Klink gets a great ride on the Cox Communications Thursday game of the week. Jenks prevails and remains #1 in the state. I don't see how you could drop the Redskins any further than they are right now at #2.
I don't know how you could be any closer. 1-2, 37-41, Don. This was one of the most incredible high school football games. It really topped last year's state championship game and sets it up great for this year.
Again, coming into this game in the previous 4 meetings, only a touchdown had separated the two teams when you accumulate the total points. Tonight, it was a 4-point game, and we had 3 touchdowns, actually 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes of the game.
506 total yards of offense for Jenks. That's phenomenal. Most of it coming in the second half. Union have 359. We saw a lot of offense in 24 minutes.
We certainly did. Only 17 in the first half. And 51 points in the second half. Alan Trimble, even though he won the game, I'm sure he's telling them right now we made a lot of mistakes in this game, but certainly came back to win. Let's go down to Coach Trimble. Go ahead, Jack.
We were just talking. We've never seen anything like this in our lives. I don't think you can equal this.
I can't believe it. I just, I don't know. I just, we thought on the last play we'd try to hit Kejuan across the middle and call a timeout, and that rascal makes a great play, man.
The guy has amazing speed and talent, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think probably more than that is he has a heart, because he was pretty tired when he went into the game. He had got a lot of carries tonight, and he just picked us up and carried us when we had to have it.
And on the other side, you guys score with 2 minutes to go. Tyler Gooch did a great job of bringing his team down.
You'll never see that till you quit, and that's what I said before the game. Tyler Gooch is my kind of guy. No quit in him. He's a battler. He picked his team up and made it happen.
We hype this as not only the biggest game in the state, but the biggest game in the country. I think it lived up to the billing.
I'll tell you what, we need to just send the video out, because if it was something that could top this, I've never seen it.
Right, congratulations,
you bet, Jack. Thank you.
Alan Trimble and the Jenks Trojans, they've won 4 in a row. Now they'll see if they can win 5. But remember, Don and JV, they lost during the regular season the last 2 years, won the state. Union can maybe hope they can reverse things this time.
Bill Blankenship has said throughout the week, Jack, that if Jenks won this game and they assured Bill Blankenship and the Redskins of a gold ball, he'd do it in a heartbeat. So well, maybe that is an omen.
Well, you have to think that you've got to be positive if you're on either staff, because both teams played so hard. They executed so well at times. They had some mistakes, but you can expect that. But this was an unbelievable game. Ripley wouldn't believe it if you sent it in.
The Jenks Trojans were down midway third quarter by 17 points. Came back to take the lead. Union regained the lead. Jenks wins it with the final seconds of the game. Hope you enjoyed it. How could you not, as much as we did? For J.V. Haney and Jack Buns, Don King on our Cox Communications Tulsa area game of the week. Final score, final time. Jenks 41, Union 37 before 31,000 plus. Good night from Skelly Stadium in Tulsa.
The preceding program was produced through the facilities of the Production Services Group and Cox Communications.